Hello! Welcome to the studio. Pleasure to have your company here. My goodness, let me just get the live chat up and running. I'm a little bit behind this morning. I've got the wrong window open. My goodness. No doubt you're in the live chat now letting me know that you can see and hear me. If you could do that for me, please. Let me know you could see and hear me, and I will be right with you. I've clicked the wrong button like an absolute numpty. I'm going to go over here and click the right button. We'll put on a bit of lighting as well. Why not? Oh, very nice. Rocking the blue today. Maybe we've got a bit of orange up there. Why not? Okay, now over here. One job, Joe. You had one job. My goodness. Can't help but feel like that was somehow Joe's fault. All right, bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. I will just get my live stream here up and running. Now I can see the live chat. You can tell I'm professional, can't you? There we go. There we go. Now I've got my thing. There, it's live. Yeah. No, I for all that sort of stuff, I blame Joe. It's never his fault. He's a star. He's my guy, you know. But you got to have a fall guy. Sorry, Joe. All right, there we go. That's it. Joe's not going to talk to me now. You can see and hear me. Thank you. Right. Okay. Well, here I'm giving it away. What I'm going to do here. Look. I'm giving it away right now. You can check out your live stream library right over on the Academy, and let's just chill out a little bit. Give me a second. Whew. It's Academy live stream mode. Now, what we've done in this live stream, we actually put this out to the entire mailing list. So if you're here from my newsletter subscriber list, hello, welcome to the studio. Pleasure to have your company. Normally, we get off to a much smoother start than that, but it's live, baby. It's always something. Anyway, so what we're here to do is paint pictures. And this is what I do every single week on the Academy. But you might have just signed up for the Academy if you were watching the public live stream that I put on YouTube as a free-for-all yesterday. And that was a lot of fun. And I'm going to talk to you about what we're going to be doing today. Because today, in today's class, we are going to be dealing with something absolutely fundamental that I guarantee is going to help you push your landscapes a little bit further. Just inject a little more drama in there, a little more mood, a little more atmosphere, some light. We're going to talk all about atmosphere, depth, and light today. It's going to be a fun one, but we're doing this on small color studies. Why the heck would you want to do a small color study? Well, I do my thinking here when my camera's not frozen. Let's see if we can get our camera back, shall we? Here we go. There we go. Hello. I do all my thinking here before I attempt to paint anything big. There's my hand, just to give you an idea about how big this thing is. It's not a very big, little tiny section of linen. As you can see here, there's the loose, rough edge of that linen. It's just a cut-off sheet. Fine weave linen, masking tape. If I peel this tape off, by the way, you'll see these are beautiful the way they come out. This is so nice and frameable. Look at how pristine that edge is there. Oh goodness, even the imprimatura didn't bleed underneath. It's just so lovely. So you can even frame these things up. But that's what we're going to be working on today. Now, I'm going to do some thinking here today. We're going to be thinking out loud. We're going to be working on this little color study together. There's going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to cover. We'll just get that pressed down. But I'm going to have a really clear idea about what happened here today. And is this going to work as a bigger painting or not? What's the idea? What the heck is the big idea today? Well, this is what I'm working on today. I'm excited to share this with you. Let me minimize that window, and we'll come over here and maximize that one so you can see what the heck we're talking about. Boom! Welcome to the Matukituki Valley. Now, I'm painting a lot of Matukituki Valley at the moment. Yesterday, I painted this as well. Maybe I paint it just because it's fun to say. Matukituki. Say that fast 10 times. This has got to be my favorite place on earth. I love this valley. I love the mix of the farmland, the native New Zealand beech forest, and these majestic mountains. Now here in this reference, we're looking towards Mount Aspiring. We can't see Mount Aspiring here because it's veiled in all of this beautiful cloud with this beautiful light. But when you're out there amongst it, and sometimes in the dramatic weather, you're blessed with these moments. Check this out. So the rain was coming down, and then the light appeared, and the light started to shine through the rain. And then some cows posed for us. And I'm thinking, oh, bless you, cows. How nice is this? Yes, I will tomorrow, every single one. And so what I love about this is, obviously, I love the light. The light, I'm a sucker for that light, man. Look at that light. Isn't that stunning? I love the contrast. That's really powerful too. I love the directionality of this light. We can see it as it's shining through these veils of rain. I love the foreground in this reference, shot at a slightly different time, slightly different atmospheric effect. This is about an hour apart. I can't remember which one came first, this image or the previous one, but they're shot about an hour apart. But I love the stream. And the stream, like a path, like a road, like a trail, it's an invitation to the viewer to travel along and enter the composition. So we're going to have this in here. I absolutely love it. I love a bit of that erosion too. So I'm thinking cows again, stream, I'm thinking light. I know what you're thinking. You're like, dude, this painting is just too much. This is going to be too much. But I'm feeling it, man. I'm vibing it. And maybe you think I'm going overboard with the cows. Hey, I might be. But I tell you what, I think if you're feeling it, if there's something going on that is just pulling at your heartstrings, you got to paint it. What you're seeing here with me as an artist, just speaking from an art point of view, this is all stuff I would love to paint. I would love to get my teeth just sunk into these subjects. Just like, wow, that is an interesting project to chew on. And when we paint these, I'm telling you, like these paintings, I want to be, well, that one, this one here, several meters across. I'm thinking that's going to be a 3 meter by a 1.8. Canvas, so that's going to be a monster. And when I do this at 3 meters, this will be probably one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing I've ever done. This one here, maybe not quite that big, maybe a couple of meters, but still, that has the bones of a really nice big painting. So I have to do my thinking here first, and I'm definitely not going to be ready going straight from this color study to that bigger version. Rachel Tischler in the house. Good morning, my love. I've just seen you. And hello to Hugo. Hey, Hugo. Daddy loves you, buddy. I told you you'd see Daddy on TV. Hey, how you doing? I love it when Rachel tunes in and Hugo watches Daddy on the TV. That's cool. It's nice. It's nice when my family gets to watch too. That's awesome. So let's get into this. Let's get into this today. We're gonna talk about a lot, but before we do, I want to say hey to some people. To my OGs, you know what to do. To my newbies, if you've never seen me paint before, if this is your first time here, if you missed yesterday's stream or you happened to catch yesterday's stream and that was your first, hit me up in the live chat and let me know you're new with 3 capital N's for new. Let us know your name. Let us know where you're from. Let me shout you out in those comments there. I can see you up here on this screen. I'm going to be reading these out as we go today. All right, and let's get into some color. Let's get some color out for today. We're going to need some beautiful colors. I'm going to don my pair of nitrile gloves to get these out. And today, we're going to be using the same palette as in yesterday's stream, but if you missed it, I'm going to explain all about the color today. OG. New. Hello, Bill. How are you? Laura White is new from Australia. Where, Laura? Australia is a big place. I lived all over Australia. Where in Aussie are you from, Laura? Where are you from, Bill? Good to see you. Welcome. Penny's in the house. Kevin is definitely, you're an OG, my dude. You're an OG. Marianne is here. Well done. Hey, Rianne and Nikki. Excellent. Hello, Joyce from Florida. Awesome. G'day, Capt Joe. I don't know how to pronounce that, but welcome from Charlotte, Florida. Awesome. New. Stuart's new. Linda Kovac is new. Hi from the UK. Hello, Sue. How are you? Jackie is here from Oklahoma. Melbourne. All right. Yeah. Rachel and I used to live in Dalesford. And before that, we were living in Barwon Heads. So that's interesting. Very nice. I like Melbourne. I miss Melbourne. Do you ever go to the NGV, Laura? The NGV. I still think about those paintings I saw at the NGV. In the 19th century salon room. And I'm thinking about those very paintings as I'm going to paint this little color study today. So, we've got a lot of ground to cover. Let's go over our colors here. And what we've got to the left of the white is our earth tones. I'm also going to be using a bit of this liquid impasto medium today. Now, I got a little bit too much out yesterday. It forms a little bit of a skin. You can get that skin right on off of there with a palette knife. No trouble at all. Now, I've got transparent red oxide. And as I'm going through my palette, what I do is I just scrape the top if they do form a little bit of a skin. Generally, I don't put the paints away or scrape it off, completely clean my palette between sessions because I just don't need to most of the time. I'm going back to painting the very next day. I only get out for the session what I think I'm absolutely going to need. You can always get it out of the tube. Very difficult to put it back in the tube, you see. So I got a bit of titanium white here. I'm going to get some Cremnitz white. And here, these two whites you might be wondering about. We can get into that today. I normally mention that in just about every single live stream. But I've got titanium white and Cremnitz white. Titanium based, obviously. Lead based is a Cremnitz white. Hence, I'm wearing nitrile gloves. Important to protect yourself at all times. Then what we got here is we've got some nickel yellow, Naples yellow, nickel yellow deep. Now one thing that this camera is doing, and it's something about the white balance, I'm trying to set it so you can see exactly what's happening here. But at least you can see a difference between this cadmium lemon and that nickel yellow deep. But I'm telling you, these two, it's like the difference between a lemon yellow and an orange. It's just not picking up that orange. Tomorrow, let me know in about 5 minutes, and we'll get there. So let me know again tomorrow in 5 minutes and we'll start. Oh heck, I'll start the recording now. I'll do it now. Because I will miss it, won't I? I will, like a numpty, I'll miss it. So I record these for the tutorial version too. All right, we're on. We're recording. Beautiful. So the difference between these two, the camera's not picking it up, but these are nice warm yellows here and very light. And I'm playing with my nickel at the moment because I'm out of Naples. And Blue Ridge are saying they're not going to do any more Naples. And I'm sad about that, but it is what it is. So we got cadmium lemon. We've got some Indian yellow, cadmium orange, which I am loving at the moment. I'm going to get out a little bit more of that cadmium orange deep. I think, I'm just saying, I might keep the permanent crimson permanently on my palette. And I might go ahead and just get rid of that cadmium orange deep. I'm going to play with something today as well. I'm going to try this. I'm going to get a little bit weird on you. I'm going to go with some quinacridone red rose. We'll experiment with another color. Often in these sessions, when I'm doing a color study at a small scale, let me switch up my camera angle here. When I'm doing a color study on a small scale, often I am only just getting out the colors that I think if they will suit the subject, but if I want to play with a different effect or experiment at all, now's the time to do that. Now my reference is clipping my palette a little bit there, I see, but I'm going to go ahead and get some chromium green oxide out here. But next to my quinacridone red rose, I got some quinacridone magenta. Then I've got my three blues. Now these blues are going to be absolutely essential today in creating atmospheric depth. We've got ultramarine right here. We'll replenish a little bit of that. I've got cobalt blue and cobalt teal. My cobalt teal's gone pretty dry there, so I'm going to get out a little bit more right in front. There we go. I got some phthalo green. And I've got some chromium green oxide, as I mentioned. I don't think I need any more phthalo green. I think that's going to do me. Now, in this little pot that you can just see right here, this is liquid original. I will just swing my camera slightly so we can see that. So you'll be able to see as I get into that liquid original, I'm going to be mixing about 1 part medium to 3 parts paint. Now, if you're new to painting, especially if you're new to painting in oils, actually just 1 second. Hey, Joe, would you mind getting me a roll of paper towels, please, brother? Yeah. Thank you. All right. Now, if you've never seen me before, you might not have heard me say this before, but of course you wouldn't if you haven't seen me before. But 1 part medium to 3 parts paint. When we're working on this, if I want this little panel, like I want my others to dry relatively quickly, if I want to layer the very next day, then I can do that if I mix medium in there. Oil paint on its own is very slow drying. Thank you, bro. Thank you. I take back what I said. So if I want to layer over the top, a little bit of medium. So what this does is it effectively plasticizes our paint. We can add to the flow. We can add to the which helps it just with its brushability, its workability, but it'll give us a nice ability to layer it. Now I'm using 2 different forms of liquid. I'm using the liquid impasto and liquid original, and again, no more than 1 part medium to 3 parts paint. If I use too much, even as Winsor & Newton state on their website, and by the way, they're not a sponsor, but if I use too much, what ends up happening is you end up yellowing, cracking, disadhesion, all that good stuff. Hey, Joe, you know what I've done? I've dropped paint in my coffee. It's white and it might be lead. Would you make me a fresh one, please, and wash the cup for me?
Yes.
Thank you, bro. I'm here for a long time, not a good time. Here we go.
All right.
Thank you, my bro. Don't drink the lead, folks. Don't drink the lead. Okay, and if you've got a question, do what Heidi's done. Do what Antje's done. Put 3 capital Q's at the start of your question so I can see it, and then I'll answer that. Let's get Antje's question here. And again, if I missed your question, if I missed it, then just ask me again, okay? The point here for these live streams on the Academy is that we answer every single question. Okay, here we go. If you're telling me to drink it, you can go ahead and sign off now, all right? You are mean. I don't appreciate it. All right. Do you have any tips for learning to paint rocks, stones, or mountains more easily? I'm having trouble painting the rocks too, evenly and not individually enough with lights and darks. Antje, let's cover this in today's live stream. That's a wonderful question. And this is that human order and pattern coming in again, where we need to make a conscious effort to employ our law of big, medium, small, and shape distribution. Okay, so that might sound really out there and fancy. Don't worry about it. I got you. I hear you 100%. So we're going to talk about it today. What was the clear fluid in your second tin yesterday? There is nothing in this one. I'm only using liquid original. This one's completely dry. Nikki, okay. Heidi, can you put a notice on the Academy for non-Academy live streams that you do on YouTube, date and time? I keep missing them. For sure. Heidi, make sure you're on the, you subscribe to the channel, bell notification icon, and you're subscribed to the mailing list too, because we let the entire mailing list know. But it's separate to the Academy. I'm just conscious about spamming people is all, you know, because some people are like, oh, Tish, leave me alone. All right. Okay. One more, and then we'll get into it. Is the clear fluid, that's another one from Nikki. Is the clear fluid is impasto? No, the impasto is here. This little gelatinous lump right here, this is our impasto. That's liquid original, that's it. Would you stretch it across the frame if you already painted it? Pull on the linen, not worry about the paint cracking. This material here is not really stretchable. It's got no give or flex in it at all. It's linen, It's a fine weave linen, and it's incredibly tough. So I would adhere this to a board, or when I take it to my framer, they will mount that on some foam core board with some adhesive themselves. And that will make sure that it's really, and it will frame it behind a mat. So a mat board on these little studies. So do I ever use Terps? I do, Kevin, to wash my brushes. And there, Rachel's in the chat answering some questions. Look at that. You hang out with a painter long enough, or you marry one, you learn all the ins and outs of all the process. All right, I'm going to get a synthetic pointed round here. I'm just, there's one I prepared earlier. I've given it a little bit of a wash. We've got our paint, we're ready to go. We've got our idea, we've got our concept firmly in mind. Are we in good form today? I can only start painting if you're in good form, if you're feeling good. No, you're not? Look, you might not be in the mood to paint when you come to the studio first thing in the morning. I totally get that. I feel that all the time. Is that a fresh cup, sir?
I washed it.
You washed it? Thank you, my bro. Pretty thoroughly. Amazing. Just right there, buddy. Right there. Incredible. Thank you. Thank you. That's amazing. That's Joe Moore, everybody. He's the best. He still gets blamed for everything, but he's still the best. So, when you rock up to your studio and you're not in the mood to paint, I totally hear you. I get these emails all the time, you see. And what do you do if you're not in the mood? Well, I just start working, and in about 20 minutes, I'm in the mood. So if you're not in good form today, just pick up that brush and just start painting. Who's going to paint along with me today? Same mug. Oh, he says he washed it. He says he washed it. Jim Stevens wants to know, what glue do you use to adhere the linen to the panel? Well, ordinarily, if it was me doing it, I would use an exterior PVA. I don't know why. This might be a mistake. Maybe I should go higher on the horizon. Maybe I should go lower. Where shall I go? I'm thinking I could either do the horizon there or the horizon there. Horizon high means I got more room for foreground, which could be really cool. Horizon low, I got more room for sky. This seems to be a very sky dominant painting, so I think I'm going to go horizon low. Now, I'm using a synthetic pointed round. This is a Shiraz pointed round, number 2 by Rosemary & Co. I'm loading up the bristles. By the way, what I'm going to try and do in these live streams for you, this is what I try and do each week on the Academy, is I'm going to try and explain those things that often don't get explained. But you also hit me up and hold my feet to the fire here and make sure I explain these things if you got questions about anything, all right? But when we're mixing the paint, I saw this with my students on the plein air art tour we just did, is I'm picking up just a little bit of paint. Notice here as well, my palette organization, I do not deviate from this order. Now the colors might change, but the order stays the same. But there's something else going on. I'm going to draw a diagram right here on the palette. This is how I'm depositing the paint. I squeeze out the tube of the paint, and then if this is the surface of the palette, we're looking at this little deposit of paint side on. I squeeze out a lump of paint, and then I put the tube against, the mouth of the tube against the glass of the palette, and so it's this shape when seen in profile. And so I'm actually picking up paint from this edge right here. That lead edge. So I'm getting out a controlled amount of paint each time, and this is going to be very important when it comes to color mixing. But every single one of them, it's not a matter of just going and there it goes. There has to be some sort of order to it. Why do I do that? Because again, I want to control the amount of paint that I'm picking up. Now this combination is quinacridone, magenta, and burnt umber, and a touch of liquid. And you might be wondering, okay, well, how do you measure the 1 part liquid to 3 parts paint? Well, I'm just dipping the brush in once and picking up one of those, one of those, one of those, one of those. So it might even be a little bit less liquid, but I prefer to use too little than too much. You really only get into those negative consequences when you just put too dang much in there. So I'm thinking we've got a major mountain here. I think that's where the shoulder of the mountain is going to go. The light is going to be exploding out of the sky right there. Let me pull up a little bit of reference. This mountain has got a little bit of a shoulder over on that side. And then I'm thinking that's kind of where it comes to. I think what we could do, which would be really interesting and exciting, is we could obscure the top of this mountain with cloud. So we could completely mask that out with cloud and just have that light spilling down into that scene. My initial first few marks, and by the way, if you want to build your confidence with your brush work and your drawing ability with the brush, just do more of it. Yes, I could sketch this up with pencil and be very, very careful, but I found that as soon as I just picked up the brush and started sketching with the brush, particularly with landscapes, trickier with portraits, but with my landscapes, it just really helped me become a little more painterly, a little bit more confident just wielding that brush by just doing more and more and more of it and forcing myself into a situation where it's like, no, we're gonna draw, we're gonna make these snap judgments where I don't get to be careful, timid, and erase. That said, there is a time and a place for sketching up onto your canvas directly, but I use this as an exercise to kind of loosen up, explore my color, my composition. Hello, Will. This is my first live, says Will. Hey, welcome, man, welcome. And where are you from, Will? Again, if you got a question, I got some interesting chat happening here. Agreed. RJD1308, Rublev, highly recommend. And Rublev have got some fantastic products. That's a Natural Pigments company, George O'Hanlon. Fantastic products with archival quality in mind. Very good. I'm going to pick up this little bank. I'm going to move my little stream over. In fact, I'm thinking I'm going to do something crazy. Are you ready? Let's get crazy. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm looking at my reference, but I've just realized that, and I came across this with another painting many years ago. Compositionally speaking, if I have a subject over on this side, I can come in with a stream and point at it, but what the heck is this side for? What I'd like to do is effectively use the real estate in my painting. Use it well. Use all of it and lead the viewer on a little journey around the scene. Just a little bit of medium on my brush. Gonna obscure that a little bit. Let's go ahead and just wipe that out. I'm glad I caught this early and didn't spend a lot of time drawing that out. And you might be going, hang on a second. Dude, you just got a bunch of burnt umber out and quinacridone magenta and medium. Like, what the heck? How is that going to come out of there? Well, this color is going to be something that's going to mix really beautifully with my other colors. So I'm thinking what I do is I point at this. And right now, I'm imagining my darling wife who's watching this on the screen. I'm imagining she's nodding in agreement. She's like, good move, compositionally good move. I tell you what, sometimes you need somebody that's going to just tell you exactly what they think and give you that feedback. And I often rely on Rachel to just give me a solid critique on whatever I'm working on. She's come to know good composition. She's got a good eye for design. So I'm imagining right now that Rachel is nodding in agreement, going, yes, have the stream come in from the other side, because now we got the light over on this side, so we'll lead the eye up here, into that valley, over here, back down again. Cool. One thing I love about this little stream here that we got in the foreground is we have an opportunity for clear water. I don't know how much of that we'll get into today. Hopefully, well, my goal here in the next 3 hours of painting is to fully realize this color study and get it fully finished like we did yesterday. And a color study is meant to be loose, yeah? a color study is meant to just be a shoot from the hip impression of what the composition is going to look like. All right, what is the color next to the liquid original? Okay. The color next to the liquid original. Right here, there's our liquid original. This is liquid impasto. So we got burnt umber, transparent red oxide, transparent yellow oxide. And then we got our titanium white, Cremnitz white. Gabriel's here. Hello, Gabriel. And Colin, how did your cruise go? Good to see you. I want to give you guys some context here. Colin and Gay Dixon were my agents back in the day. When I first started out on my professional journey as an artist, they were the very first ones to take me on. And I just have mad love and respect for those two. They absolutely wonderful people, and I've got so many fond memories of my time back in Perth. Just wonderful. So I'm blessed you're here. I'm really blessed you're here. Please give Colin a hug from me, and get Colin to give you a hug too, eh, Gay? Good to see you. Glad you're here. And it was good to catch up with you recently in Dunedin too. That was awesome. Now, in this study, we need to have, we got to have a little bit of life. And in fact, I've received this comment recently going, your paintings, they're a little bit sparse. You need to have a little bit of life in them. And so, I don't know, I think maybe this next body of work is going to have so much life in it that you're going to get sick of it. You'll be like, okay, now paint a desert. Paint something else. But out here, I'm thinking, under this shaft of light, I think we need to have some cows. Maybe we do distant cows in this one. We have a stream, and then we have some distant cows. So just a couple of shapes to indicate something going out there, right there on the waterline. Now, out here in the Matukituki Valley, what we have is a bit of a floodplain. And so we can just see from our vantage point the flattening out of the landscape right there at the base of the mountains. This is what I'm thinking to myself, of course, as I travel along. Flattening out of that floodplain towards the base of the mountains. And then we'll have, let me see here, maybe a little bit of lighter tone that goes in the base of that. Here, initially, what I'm thinking about is my shape design and how one shape relates to another. This is the first place that I would make any major compositional mistakes. I would put my foot right in it as I'm walking down the compositional path, and I see those compositional dog turds right there in the footpath, and I'm just going to put my foot right in it, dude. Right in it. What happens? Well, there's a couple of rules that I have when it comes to composing a painting. 5, in fact, that I try not to break. But sometimes, if you were here yesterday, you can break one, and it's okay. It's okay. We ended up yesterday breaking one of those rules, and I think the little painting turned out okay. I think it came out okay. Is there, oh, English red next to the impasto? Yes, Tamara, that's correct. English red. I haven't played with it yet. I might get it out today. It's still sitting there just looking at me. I beg your pardon. I'm sorry, Heidi. I didn't understand the question. I didn't even think about the English red because I just don't often use it, but we might find a time and a place for it today. English red. Yes, correctamundo. All right. So, what are the 2 earth colors next to the transparent red oxide? So we've got burnt umber and transparent yellow oxide there. Beg your pardon, I was just trying to find the focus on that one. So here's some of my rules when it comes to composition. And this will get you out of the vast majority of trouble and help you create something that's nice and natural looking and asymmetrically balanced, something that's harmonious. I'm obsessed with the old masters. I'm really obsessed with 19th century landscape painting. And one thing that I see predominantly throughout, not that anybody had specific rules on this as such, but what I see predominantly is this asymmetrical balance. Well, I wanted to know, how could I consistently achieve asymmetrical balance in mine? And maybe I'm a little too analytical here, but I came up with some rules that I could just Try and follow these rules, and it would just keep me from putting my foot right in it, okay? First one, our diagonals and our center lines, horizontal, vertical, diagonal, diagonal. I want to make sure I haven't put any major focal point right smack bang in the middle or along these lines. Now, I don't want anything, so something could come out the corner, but it's not diagonally exiting the corner, right? Something could occupy space in the center, but it's not a central object. So I wouldn't necessarily put the sun right there, for instance. You know, so as long as I'm staying clear of that, I call that the axis of evil. As long as we steer clear of that, we're okay. The next thing is, speaking of corners, is we don't want to put anything of major significance right in one of our corners, okay? What ends up happening is our attention is drawn there. We can create some real heaviness down in the corners. It can drag your viewer's attention right off. Now, these lines that you see here, and this is one of the things that I'm working out here with my painting, is I'm working out lines that our eye is going to travel along. Lines of force, lines of sight. These are referred to as vectors. I want to make sure I don't have any exiting vectors, anything that points at the edge and goes right off the edge like that line could do. So I think about, okay, what could I do to break that before that goes off the edge? And potentially, maybe we could have a little tree, a shrub, a bush, a plant, whatever, and immediately the line's broken before it goes off the edge. Similarly, we could have a little tree or something here that could be growing out of the bank. A bit of mutagari, native New Zealand species, a very scrubby bush. That could be just growing there on the edge, and that will break that side. So it helps harness the viewer's attention within the scene. The next thing is what I refer to as aberration. So this is just a little bit of human order and pattern. You see, we are pattern recognition creatures, us human beings, but we're also pattern creation creatures. We create order and pattern where it shouldn't exist in nature. And so this can look like what we were talking about earlier. Forgive me, it was either Heidi or Nikki. Was it you, Nikki? I think it might have been Nikki. Fantastic question. Or was it Antje? Anyway, I forget. Please remind me. Who asked that wonderful question about the evenness with rocks? But this is, if I had cows, this is an idea of aberration. And I want to create a herd of cattle out in the distance. Cow, 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 cow. What have I done? I'm creating this evenness and this order and pattern where we wouldn't see that normally. Now, the human landscape, the manufactured landscape will do that. It'll plant trees in rows. It'll line up certain things, buildings and such. So with this type of landscape painting, we want a shape distribution that is somewhat random. Now that I've done it, I'm going to go ahead and break it in a couple of ways and make sure I get a nice organic looking herd of cattle out there. It was probably me. Yeah, I love Matagari. Yeah, they're cool, eh? You have made a herd. I have, Linda, but a little bit too much of an even herd, right? So that's what I'm thinking. Now, the last thing is just too much going on, too much information. But sometimes you can get away with it. And the few of these paintings you will see, I have actually done that. Let's just cast our mind back to yesterday's live stream. Is there a lot going on here? Yeah, we got sky, and we got clouds, and we got mountains, and we got forests, and we got fields, and we got reeds, and we got brush, and we got grass, and we got trees, and we got cows, and we got water in the foreground, and we got all this bathed in morning light. There's a lot going on here. If we can tie it all together, fantastic. But sometimes we run into this problem called TMI, just too much information. Now, time will tell. We need to really develop this study and see that we've got something that's going to work. Now, does that look like a chaotic scribble? It probably does to you. But to me, that makes total sense. All right? It totally makes sense. Now, okay, I know what you're thinking. Just wait. Just chill out. All right? Wait. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Or it might not. I do bomb some of these. This might be one of the ones that I bomb. Now, I've got here an Eclipse comber, 3/8 of an inch. Short handle. Lovely. I have got a 1/4 inch Eclipse comber. A little bit on the small side, but I'm going to rock those today. I am going to rock these two number 2 filbert, ultimate filbert. And those are bristle brushes. And like yesterday, I'm going to get into my number 4 Rosemary & Co. Series 274s. I'm really enjoying those too. Let's start off by mapping in. I'm gonna work this one slightly differently. I'm gonna start off with whatever's furthest away first and start working my way forward. What is the furthest thing in this landscape? Let's start to achieve some of these subtle shifts in light and gray and tone that we're seeing in that background. Now, generally, when I start off with the sky, it's a very simple combination. We got a little bit of ultramarine blue here and a little bit of burnt umber. Boom, we have gray. Now, one thing I want to achieve is a sense of light. So I might be inclined to go straight for the white and just try and add as much white to this as possible. Don't even worry. Look, hey, don't worry about this quinacridone getting in there and burnt umber. Watch this. I can use any of that right here with my combination, add a little bit of ultramarine blue to that. It cools it right down. The violet is most welcome. The burnt umber helps make gray. You would have noticed I don't have any black here on my palette. I don't like using it in a landscape. I'm going to put down a couple of strokes of gray. I'm going to just make my first initial exploratory marks here. By the way, download those full reference images. The reference, hey, Jim Fairburn, is the reference material good to go on the live stream?
Yeah, it's on the Academy.
It's on the Academy. In the library, on the Academy, you'll have that royalty and copyright-free reference. So for everybody that's an Academy member, get your hands on that reference right now. Open it up on another screen or in another tab or somewhere. Download that anyway. By the way, when I say royalty-free, copyright-free, look, I went to this place. I photographed this place for you. You have that image now. If you want to paint from that, you be my guest. Now, when I'm shooting reference material, I'm shooting reference, by the way, okay? I'm shooting stuff that is not going to be as beautiful of a photograph as Miss Vanessa Jones would take. I mean, she's a professional. I tell you what, man, she knows how to take a good picture. I do not. I get by. I do okay. I'm just interested in capturing the landscape. But check that out, because I'm looking at an image that you're not seeing on your screen right now. But I'm thinking about this sky. I'm thinking about these grays. So I'm going to start off with what we're going to call, for the most part, for all intents and purposes here, we're going to call this a mid-tone. All right? A mid-tone. Which means I can go a little bit darker in my sky, and I can also go a little bit lighter. Now, we want to reload our brush continually. This will help us deposit more paint. More paint can be a really good thing. It gives us a more painterly look. Painter's got to paint, right? Get some paint up on that brush. Deposit some more paint. And I'm making a conscious effort to reload between passages. Not doing too many brush strokes per load of paint. That violet that's coming through is really lovely. I'm enjoying that so far. Hello from Liverpool. Hello, other Sean. Where's the real Sean? Good to meet you. Amy Brady. Half of these photos in this file are shot on my iPhone, and the other half are shot with the DSLR. So I'll use either my big Canon or a Sony mirrorless to shoot some landscape reference. But some of the best shots that I've gotten are with the camera that's in my pocket, and often that's just my phone. Phones do pretty good these days. But what we want to do here, and this is the point of the color study, is we're trying to take it from a photograph to a painting. I want to paint a painting. I don't want to create a copy of a photograph. So I'm trying to take the ideas that I remember that I had out in the field. What were those ideas? What did I see? I was playing my what if game. I was playing that game of what's working, what's not working, and what if. What if I change this, that, or the other? You'll be out there in the field, you'll look at the light, you'll be like, wow, that's amazing. Quick, photograph the sky while it's doing that. But then you'll be looking at it going, what if if the herd of cows just came a little bit closer, for crying out loud? What you doing all the way over there? Or what if that little bit of silver light was shining off the stream? Yeah, I have to move the stream for that one. Well, do it. So I'm not interested in copying the photo. I am taking my cues from the photograph, sure. But I'm interested in really getting an impression and trying to capture a moment that otherwise would be impossible. You know, just wasn't here. It just wasn't looking like this. So that's what we got to do. As painters, we got to take that photograph, use the information, and move beyond. I believe that's how the masters would have used photographs if they could. In fact, when daguerreotypes started to come through, Bierstadt would have used them. His brother, incidentally, was instrumental in developing stereoscopic photographic techniques. Look up Charles Bierstadt. Bet you didn't know about Bierstadt's brother, Charles. So some of the masters that I love would have used photographs. But I think they used photographs. They weren't hemmed in by, oh, that's what's in my picture. Guess I'm copying that. Now, if that's your mode, hey, no shade. It's all good. I just encourage you to think about making it a little bit more. Now, that said, you can go ahead and call me a massive hypocrite in the comments now. Go for it. I won't be offended. I am. I just did a drawing demonstration that I'm going to be uploading very soon. As soon as it's edited together, it's on its way to the editor now. And this drawing demonstration is literally a copy of a photograph with very little in the way of changes. I just straight up ripped that photograph and copied that sucker. Have I heard of Tischler's 405? No, I haven't. There you go. There you go, Lori. Lori, we talked about this way back in the day. Lori, it must have been nearly 2 years ago now, where I was painting the landscape, which I still want to finish off, by the way, but I was painting the landscape of the stereoscopic image. You remember that one? I'm still going to do that. I got the study sitting over there, dang it. I'm going to finish it off. I know you're saying, yeah, you say that, but we'll see. Now, I've got a little bit of bright that I want to get into that sky there. Let's do it now. Paper towels, these are your best friend while you're painting. Have a little bit of a square of paper towels. Check this out. I wipe my brush off inside that. Keep things nice and clean in the studio. I'm a little bit OCD about cleanliness. I don't like to paint with the gloves on, but I certainly use that while I'm washing my brushes and dishing out the paint. So I've wiped off my brush so I can go ahead and lighten the tone. Not my brightest tone. I'm going to mix it in here with a little bit of this gray. And we're going to start working in here into the sky, get some lighter grays. We're going to come back and add some lighter lights towards the end of the process. You know how we like to do here. We like to take that tonal best and save it for last, because one of the things we want to do in this painting is achieve a sense of light. Control of my value range is absolutely essential if we're going to do that. Think about it. I've only got titanium white. That's the brightest bright I have up my sleeve. So if I hold back with my tones here in the initial stages and then bring out the big guns towards the end, then I've stand a pretty good chance of creating that sense of light that we're all chasing as painters. Nature, you know, the creator can paint with actual light, but us mere painters with tubes of oils, we have to deal with reflected light. So as such, preserve those tones. Save that tonal best for last. We'll get into that at the end. So I feel like I've got a bit of a cloud hanging here in the valley. We'll dish out a few lighter grays, something clinging to the top of this mountain. The mountain in this painting is going to be slightly obscured by some of these cloud notes that we're going to add. And so as I come forward, I'm going to be using more of the colors that we've just added. I know, you don't see the light in the sky yet, but we'll get there, we'll get there. I'm going to let that sit there and bother you for a while, and we're going to bring that towards the end. Is that okay? Well, deal with it. Okay, so here with the mountain, we're going to get a little bit of ultramarine and a little bit of cobalt blue, a little bit of burnt umber, quinacridone magenta. So you can see it's the same colors again. As we come forward, though, we're going to get a little more intense with our chroma. A little more saturated. Still pretty blue and hazed out and gray. And notice that quinacridone burnt umber combination. It don't make no never mind. It just blends beautifully in with our other colors. I do, when I'm using my synthetic pointed round to initially sketch up my composition, I do keep it pretty thin. So I'm not using a whole bunch of paint there. Now, I love how Mount Aspiring, even though we're looking towards Aspiring, we just see a glimpse of it in some of these images. Oh, Deborah has a question here about painting scratchy. So Deborah, one of the things that I'm concerned with is the paint surface looking like it gets too thin, and you see too much of that imprimatura, and you might be wondering, what is this color that I'm working on? That's not the natural color of the linen. This is a little bit of burnt sienna and burnt umber applied with some solvent, some liquid, and then rubbed back thoroughly, left to dry, and now I've got a stained linen. Now the linen was triple primed before I started working on it. The imprimatura is a beautiful place to start on. If you are using white linen, then I recommend giving it a little color wash, particularly your warmer earth colors. That can give you a real nice traditional feel. But what happens is, as I paint thin, I don't reload my brush, I see a bit too much of the imprimatura coming through. Maybe a little bit of it coming through here and there. I like it in places, but if it gets too thin, like this for instance, and I'm using a brush like a bristle, and I do something like this, it tends to look too thin and what I call scratchy. It looks like you've scratched through the surface. It looks haphazard and a little unintentional. So I'm on the lookout for that. Deborah, does that clear it up? I'm sorry I didn't clarify that yesterday. I did see that question come through and I neglected to answer that. I apologize. I'm going to go even darker in some of these areas in the sky. I'm not afraid of the dark. Are you afraid of the dark? Are you afraid of the dark? Here's the deal. A lot of the old masters used dark. Let me tell you, they used a lot of dark. That's how we have light. It's contrast. It's having a point of difference between these two things that creates that sense of light. So I'm going to darken down some of these areas, particularly the clouds here. Create a little bit of contrast with this cloud shape. Oh, this one's going to be fun. This one's going to be a lot of fun. Can I tell you as well, this landscape here, I took my plein air folks that came and joined me for the New Zealand Extreme Plein Air experience at the start of this year. Absolutely awesome trip. I took them to this spot, West Wanaka Station. I have always wanted to go to West Wanaka Station and paint. It is just the nicest farm I think I've been to. It's just in the majestic, rolling countryside. And ever since I first saw this valley on our honeymoon in 2011, I've always wanted to go to the other side of the river. See, most of the tourists are always on this side of the river, but here on the station, we're on private property. So it's a real treat to be able to paint this. All right, let's go ahead and blend this out a little bit. We can blend lightly with some of these flat synthetic brushes. Oh, I like a little bit of darkness. Is the dark bothering you? Good. Wah. It was heavy downpouring this time, I tell you what. I want to go bathe in that light. Cows might object. Might just have to start a loud rendition. The hills are alive. Well done, Nikki. Yesterday you said to use oil prime in the imprimatura. What oil do you use? Africo, what I'd recommend is I use the oil primed linen. This is from Bel Arti. It's my favorite. It's just such a beautiful surface to work on. I got a buddy who's here at the moment using the studio, and he was saying that this is one of the nicer surfaces that he's worked on, and he's painting some portraits right now. So this is a really nice surface. So I recommend getting something that's already pre-primed. It just makes it easier and you get straight on with painting. And so that's what I've got here, is a pre-primed, oil-primed surface, ready to go for oils. Now I do also use acrylic primed linen. You can always paint oils over acrylics. You just can't paint the other way around. You cannot paint acrylic over oil. So this linen, for instance, is not appropriate for me to go on with acrylic paints. Not that I use acrylic paints, but there you go. If you are an acrylic painter, you want to make sure you're working on acrylic primed. If you're an oil painter, hey, anything goes. Acrylic primed, oil primed, it's all good. So I got a couple of little stripes of snow. No detail as such, just edge loaded that brush, flick a couple of lines through there, and we've got a beautiful, I think this is the Tasman Glacier on Mount Aspiring. I think that's what it's called. Nikki will school me. If Jean's in the house, she'll definitely know. Okay, let's start bringing it forward. Bring the tiers of depth forward. Brent and I are going to start a band. I think Will Patino's in. We're called the Tiers of Depth. I don't know what I'm going to be playing. Probably the triangle. Sarmed. Hey, good to see you, Sarmed. How are you, man? I don't know. I think it's going to be super fine, Sarmed. I think it's going to be super fine because if not, I'd recommend going super fine. I'm keen to actually go and see what the deal is there. Because I think the finer the weave, the more it's suited for these small studies and smaller panels. I love a super fine weave for small stuff. And then you had a question about impasto. There's already such a thick quality of the oil paint. I have Rublev impasto, but I haven't tried it yet. So I love the liquid impasto. I have not tried Rublev impasto yet. I've used Rublev oleo gel. Love that. That's thixotropic though, which means the more you kind of mix it and work it, The more you apply action to it, the thinner it gets. The liquid impasto basically does something that normal oil paint will not do. And it also does something that the liquid original will not do. And that is, it'll add a body and a thickness, but it will also speed up your drying time. It will retain the most intense brush texture. And I use that. I love texture in my paintings. So initially in the block end, yeah, maybe not so much, but after the first couple of layers, I might start going in with some strategic texture. So my lighter lights, I like to have a little bit lighter. Nothing reflects light than thick white paint. And so I add my liquid impasto into my areas of intense highlight. Just reflects even more light back to that viewer. It's awesome, awesome stuff. I'm going to silhouette that little subtle mountain shape there in that valley. Hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit, get you even a better view, get a front row seat here. Hope you're enjoying the live stream so far. We're about an hour in. And again, if you're joining from the mailing list, if you've never seen me live before, Sarmed, that might be you. I mean, I know you, but we've not met on the Academy live stream before. Hey, we go live every single week. The shortest live stream that I do now on the Academy is 3 hours long. So we go live every single week on the Academy, and we go deep on all the painting stuff, and even art business stuff as well. So if you're enjoying it, you'll get this every single week with an Academy membership. So we'll talk about that in a little while. So far, I've mapped in some grays. We've got the sky done. We've started with whatever's furthest away. Very simple palette so far. We're going to now work our way to the next tier of depth. And the next one along appears to be this beautiful mountain with this slope that's been pulled out in front. Absolutely love it. Before I paint that though, I want to work that profile edge. Oh, you're welcome, Nikki. You're welcome. I don't really take these public holidays though. Hey, Nikki. It is Good Friday here in New Zealand. So they say. I'm going to work that profile edge, bring that down a little bit. I think we need to get a bit of white in there. Oh, you're welcome, Victoria. Appreciate you. Hello, Elaine. Awesome. Okay. Need a stretch break for a second. And just to let Tamara know before she mentions, I am recording still. I am. Tamara's ever faithful with just keeping me on track with making sure that I'm recording this for the Academy for later. So I got a Sony camera coming in from an angle here, just making sure we get the details for the tutorial version. Just work that profile edge just a little bit. Now, when I'm doing a color study like this, I feel like playing. It's a great opportunity, again, just to relax, flow into it, and play. And sling paint, you know. Don't get so tight. Yep, still working tomorrow. Hello, Ann. Ann's in the house. How you doing, Ann? Good to see you. Ann was on our extreme plein air adventure. Not too far to fly for Ann, just across the ditch. We were painting alongside one another in beautiful New Zealand here. And so this spot, Ann, and my other peeps who were on the tour with me, this spot is a bit further than where we were at the Cochrane station, West Wanaka station. A little bit further along. This one here is right down the end of the property. Good fun. I'm going to a blues fest today, Byron Bay. Well done, Robin. Awesome. All right. Is Brent in the house? Brent is in the house. How you doing, Brent? Hey, Brent, I think after hearing you sing in the bus, my bro, you've got to be lead singer of our band, Tears of Depth. I think Will plays the piano, so we're going to be a moody band. Maybe a bit of a double meaning there on the word tears. We can cry about landscape paintings, beautiful landscapes. You laugh, but we're the next biggest thing, I tell you what. So as I come forward, I'm conscious of this. I want to get a little bit darker. And as I was saying in yesterday's live stream, if you caught it, you might not see this on camera, but I got a couple of dials that I keep over here. One is for value, and one of them here is for color. So as I come forward, I extend my tonal range. What does that mean? Well, I extend my values. My lights become a little bit lighter. My darks become a little bit darker. But I'm doing something with the color. I'm getting a little more saturated. Now, my interest, my primary goal here is creating something that looks real. What is real? Can we define it? What does it mean when something looks real? Like when you look at a painting, you go, holy smokes, that is friggin' real, dude. The goal for me, it's not just a trick. It's not just because it's fun to do. Of course it's fun to do. It's awesome. But the goal is to transport the viewer into another time and space and create something that gives them an experience. Now, I'm not clever enough to think of anything terribly conceptual for my paintings. So my concepts and my messages are just pretty simple. It's cow, light. That's it. That's as complicated as Tisch gets. I don't have anything terribly deep or poignant. I'm just obsessed with cool-looking landscapes. But if you're a little more clever than me, then you can come up with something deep and meaningful. But you can use these techniques as a vehicle to grab that viewer's attention. And so what is real? Well, real is a convincing sense of form, depth, light, and material. Now, if you can think of anything beyond that, awesome. I'll add it to my list. But form, depth, light, and material. I want to feel the form of these mountains. I want to feel how far away they are from me. I want to feel them bathed in light. And I want to feel that texture and that material that they're made of, whether it's rock or they're covered in grass or forest. What's that feel like? So form, depth, light, and material. Now I've got 4 things that I'm trying to balance and juggle at any given moment in order to achieve this. And that is my line and shape. So this is what we were concerned with in our initial compositional SketchUp, line and shape. Then I got value, or tone as I call it. You ever heard of tonalist painters? Well, this just refers to this preoccupation with value, tone, how light things are, how dark things are. Then we've got color. Now, color is important. A lot of people just rush straight to the color without worrying about the line or the shape or the tone. But color is vital consideration. And then we've got edge, how one thing meets something else. So that again, line and shape, tone, color, and edge. And that checklist of 4, I'm continually going, okay, How can my line and shape help me create a convincing sense of form, depth, light, and material? How can my tonal values help me create a convincing sense of form, depth, light, and material? How can my use of color help me create a sense of form, depth, light, and material? And how can my edge quality help me create a sense of form, depth, light, and material? What you start to see is these connections between these considerations. And as I'm juggling these things in my mind, it's all going together to help me create more and more of a sense of realism. Now, this is the basis of what I teach on the Academy. And there's so much infinite ground to cover with these topics. And you can apply it. It's interesting how you can apply that to a portrait, to a still life, to a little color study like what we're doing here. Love a moody sky, says Anne. I couldn't agree more. How do you make your rocks appear 3D instead of flat? So Thomas, there you go. Line and shape. Tone, color, and edge. Now, rocks, I'm not going to make a dad joke and say rocks are hard. I wouldn't do that. We're serious painters around here. Knock it off. But rocks, the trick with rocks is really seems to be those four things again. But edge quality is so important. I talk about this in full in my Icy River demonstration. You can find a full 12-hour version of that on my website. The Academy got a 6-hour version of that film. There's a lot of ground that we cover in that. By the way, I started here with my shadows. Let's work in there with a little bit of that light. I've got my one Series 274 brush. But we did a lot of rocks, by the way. Great question. We did a lot of rocks in this demonstration up here. There was a lot of rock talk in that. And all my live streams are available as a replay. So you can watch all of them at any time. Every live stream I've done is available in the library. With the Academy tier, I should say. Now, we're coming up on an hour, 12 minutes. I'm going to be with you for another hour and 48 minutes. Oh, Linda, you can. It's just a handful of techniques. We'll keep working on it. We'll keep working on it. You can. Don't tell yourself you can't do it. Now, I want to create this warmth that I'm seeing. Look at that reference material and tell me those highlights that are on that mountain. And what am I going for here? Those highlights that I see out there on that mountain. I've gone for a little bit of white. I did use just a hint of nickel yellow deep, but burnt umber predominantly. This is going to be a really warm color. Now I'm going to knock it in the head with just a little bit of that gray that we were using previously. But look at that, it's a really warm gray. And I'm actually going to paint this highlight here with this warm gray. I look at that slope and I go, that is just covered in yellow grass. And one thing that I'd do, if I was just starting out, is I go, right, it's yellow, cadmium lemon, let's do it. Heck man, let's go all out. Put the cadmium yellow up in there. And then what have we done? We've used our highest chroma, our highest key yellow, our most intensely saturated yellow, and we've killed our depth because we brought the distant mountains that are supposed to be several kilometers away from the viewer, we brought them all the way into the immediate foreground visually because we got our dang saturation out of whack. We put too intense a color way out into the distance. As you observe the landscape, as you observe your photographic reference material, you start to make these distinctions and go, wow, look what's happening there. Look how dusty and gray and hazed out and blue some of those distant passages are. Look at that. Wow. How could I mix that? Now, if there's one thing you get from this live stream, I hope it drives you a little bit mental. Okay, here's what I mean. I want you to play the game, the how do I mix that game, the wow, look at that, how do I mix that, how do I mix that, how do I mix that? As you're looking at the landscape, as you're looking at anything, look, as you go right now, to put the jug on and make a cup of coffee, as you're looking at the color that's reflecting off the top of the kettle right there, look at that and go, how would I mix that color? You look at the window outside and you see the trees just flapping in the breeze there. How would I mix that? Oh, and then you look at your son or your daughter's t-shirt. How would I mix that color? Well, in everything you look at now, just go, how would I mix that? How would I mix that? How would I mix that? What we're starting to think about is color in everyday life, color in our environment. We're starting to think about it as painters. We need to start thinking with a little more nuance, a little more subtlety, than just go, that's yellow, that's red, that's violet, that's green, you know? Extend the range mentally a little bit. So start playing that game. How could you mix that? Now, when I did that, like everything I look at now, I think in terms of painting. It's quite bizarre. And I go a little nutty with it. I do. I'm going to work the edge up here, blend that highlight in with that shadow. The highlight just disappears into that shadow, giving me that softness of clouds parting above, and hopefully that light filtering down through. At an artist potluck, we talked about mixing all the colors of the food on the table. It cracked me up. That's awesome, Lori. Hey, Gary in the house. Hey, Gary, give me a dad joke, by the way. I need one of your dad jokes. Since I started painting, I see the world so much better. All the colors. Awesome, man. Already mental. Yeah, some of us start from that baseline of mental. Thomas, I'm right there with you, buddy. As a screen printer, we have to mix different ink almost each day. Gotten really good at mixing by eye. Absolutely, Matthew. Fantastic. Warm pops forward, cool goes back into space, is what you're doing. In a manner of speaking, yes. But I tend to think about things in terms of chroma and saturation, because I think you could get some warm colors to recede based on how intense the chroma is or desaturated it is. I've seen some very dusty reds and violets in the Grand Canyon, for instance, that were very warm in nature. And as I was looking at those, going, wow, how would I paint that? I'm thinking, Struth, that's a warm but desaturated color. I would use these colors for it. So on and so forth. We need to do some Grand Canyon, don't we? I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. I'm going deliberately a little bit slow on this. I really want this painting to work. I'm so excited for this painting. I should get a wiggle on though, shouldn't I? Yeah, you're right. I should. Let's get some crisp edges of this mountain. One thing I love about this mountain, to check your reference material, I love the structure and the sharpness of some of those cliff edges. All right. Hello, Rach Rashid. Good to see you. Hello from Toronto. Hello, Eileen. How are you? Hello from SW, Missouri. G'day. If you're just tuning in, welcome. Welcome to the live stream. Who's just tuning in now? It's a pleasure to have your company. Thank you for clicking on the link. Thank you for joining us. This is the first live stream that I've put out to my entire mailing list. And this is what we do every single week on the Academy. And if you're just tuning in now, what we're doing is we're working on a little color study for a painting that I hope is going to be several meters across. There's several square meters anyway. I want to paint some monsters this year, some absolute monster canvases. Because I love to paint at scale, I love to paint big, but I got a major solo show that's coming up in about 18 months' time. I got my work cut out for me. It's a big challenge. I might not make it and do everything I want to do, but I'll show up with something. But this is me right now working out. I'm getting my reps in and I'm thinking about what are my subjects? What is the big idea? What are my major themes? What are these things that I want to explore? What experience do I want to give the viewers of this show? How do I want them to feel as they walk out of that show? Just going, what was that? I'm thinking about some of the coolest landscapes that I've seen since I've been living here in the South Island of New Zealand. And before that, when I was visiting the South Island, all those years ago, just wishing I could live in such a place. So this is the mighty Matukituki Valley, just outside of Wanaka in the South Island. A killer combination, by the way, transparent red oxide, ultramarine blue. Ugh, love it. A little bit saturated. I'm going to lift the tone out with a bit of Cremnitz white. A little more ultramarine, a little more cobalt blue. I got a question here from Trevor. Hi from Sydney. G'day, Trevor from Sydney. How are you? It's hard to go from colored pencils to painting. Any tips? Is it hard to go from colored? Not at all. Just pick up a brush. Pick up a brush and join us. Look, when people say, painting, is it hard? Well, I find painting to be incredibly hard. And the reason I find it to be so difficult is because I'm continually pushing myself and trying things that scare the living crap out of me. And so I'm continually testing the limits of my ability. And so it's certainly the most rewarding and enjoyable thing that I've done is painting, besides getting married and raising a family. Nothing compares to that. But in terms of my career, dude, pick up a brush, start painting. Nothing like it. Now, yesterday I was talking in the live stream that sometimes it's not about what you deposit, it's what you take away. And I can use that imprimatura strategically, not in a scratchy way, Deborah, but strategically I can remove a few highlights here and there. That got a little bit warm. I want it to recede, but I do see a little warmth coming through in some of those shadows. Transparent red oxide's pretty good for that. Transparent yellow oxide's pretty good, but I'm going to try something crazy here and use a little bit of quinacridone red rose. There we go. It's made an appearance. And I'm going to try and go for a little bit of violet here in some of these shadows. And I think that violet's going to work really nicely. It's a slightly reddish violet, but with some of those dustier colors that we were applying. Now the shadows need to get deeper still, so it continues to come further forward. This shoulder of the mountain is a little closer to the viewer, so we need to darken the tone, bring it forward, but subtly, subtly, subtly. Don't get too heavy-handed, I tell myself. A little bit of liquid original helps improve the flow. Let's get a few of those mountain shapes. Reload your brush, making these wedge chisel-like marks with these flats. Really nice, the structure we can achieve up here in our mountain. Thinking about that edge quality, how one edge meets another. Reload. Make 2 or 3 marks and reload. I missed Sarmad's question. Sarmad, go ahead and ask it again, just so I have full context. Is there, where are you, brother? Where are you? I've lost the question. I'm so sorry. Go ahead. If I don't answer your question, go ahead and hit me up again and ask me again. Yeah, so I do have an oil painting fundamentals course, Trevor, on the Academy. And this covers all the basic materials you're going to need and some basic processes. And then it builds up in terms of the exercises. It starts you off basically at the ground floor with a bit of a challenge. Even some of my pros and intermediate painters that did the 3-color egg challenge, I think were pretty challenged. I'll say I was challenged by that, definitely. So you're never too far along to revisit the fundamentals. But this will give you a really good grounding in a range of techniques and also the type of language that I'm using. So if you're confused about some of the terms that I use, I explain this and break this down in the Oil Painting Fundamentals course that you'll find on the Academy. Already, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling the mountain. Are you feeling the mountain? Edge is so important. If we want to use edge to communicate form, depth, light, and material, well, how would we do it in this circumstance? Notice the quality of the edge that I have here in my mountains. You see that? Which you get that snub nose on that cliff established there. I like the way that cliff has got just a little rise before it drops off. Beautiful shape. I love it. You notice that edge? I do too. I got my cloud color from before. A little bit of Cremnitz white, a little bit of titanium white, a little bit of ultramarine blue, and cobalt blue. Get that out on your Series 274, number 4. And here, I'm going to get right up here in these clouds again. Oh, same color, almost exactly as we had before. Start depositing a little bit of that paint into that edge that we had established earlier. And then I'm just going to brush across that edge ever so slightly. And as I brush across this edge, I'm going to wipe off the brush because I'm brushing paint and blending paint, but I'm also picking up paint. And I don't want to make a big blurry mess, but I do want to do a slight amount of blending here. And we want to give that feeling that these are soft clouds just being rolled off these peaks, and they're separating, revealing that rocky slope below. Oh, come on, can you feel it? Look at that. Now, I don't know how you get your kicks, but this is how I get mine. Look at that. Oh, man, that is just... I know, I'm a meatball. You can go ahead and hit me up in the comments now. But just working those edges, softening that down. Lovely stuff. Give me an address to contact you. I'm very, very difficult to contact there, Anthony. But you can hit me up via the DMs on the Academy or the contact form on my website. Tischler.nz or andrewtischler.com will get you there. Click on contact and send me a message, and you got me. All right. From Rhiannon, so you're only going to paint one layer on your huge painting also? No, Rhiannon. No, I'm going to paint probably about anywhere between 18 to 27 layers on the big one. However much detail we decide to put in there. But don't worry, I'm going to walk you through the entire process. You know I will, Rhiannon, start to finish. We're going to talk about it all. But right now, I just want to get that cloud in there and get that soft feeling of clouds just rolling off the top of the mountain there. Oh, gosh. Good fun. Good fun. A little bit dark right there. Now we will get some more light out a bit later. That's nearly pure titanium. I've mixed it with just a little bit of gray. I just want to make one mark here to just separate it out and just test the water, so to speak. Let's test the cloud. Get a little bit of lightness there. That will separate out that mountain from the sky beyond. Just a bit more sharpness there. Okay. Well, I hope you're enjoying it so far. We've gone just a little bit past the halfway mark. We got a lot more to talk about. We're going to carry on with this color study, and I think we'll get most of the way through, if not completely through with this color study today. But I shouldn't say that, should I? Because now that I've said that, I might not do it. But I've edge-loaded my Series 274 flat, and I'm going to knock in a couple of highlights right now. And I'm just using the very edge of that brush to create some sharp marks. So I roll the paint off the brush, swish, 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 roll, pick up. So the brush is just edge loaded. We'll pick up a little bit more of that Crimnance white. Right. I love how just a flicker of paint can communicate so much. Or so little. It's so delicate that sometimes you'll just overdo something, but sometimes it just translates nicely. Now, hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down. If you're learning something from this, if you're getting something out of it, oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you're here. I want to thank you for spending this time in the studio with me so far. You could be doing all kinds of things today, but you're here with me and us. And I appreciate that very much. Have I ever entered the Archibald, Will? No. But yes, I have entered. I've never been in it, though. I entered, gosh, if Gabriel and Colin are still here, what was that, 2012 I entered? And I had a painting that's on my website called Law Boss. There's a portrait of a gentleman named Richard Hunter, who is what they call a law boss. He was a traditional elder of the Gullara Baloo people up in the Kimberley in Western Australia. Really inspirational chap. And enjoyed the painting very much, but in a moment of weakness, I succumbed to pressure and went ahead and entered that competition. And yeah, did not get a look in. But that's okay. It wasn't my path. It's a very hotly contested award, the Archibald, but now I don't think I'm going to be entering another competition. I might host one day, but I shan't be entering. All right, quit fiddling with the mountains, you say. I know, but it's so much fun. I'm enjoying this. Yeah, but you're frissing. I know I'm frissing, but I'm feeling those slopes, man. It's looking cool through the camera. You got a much better view than I do. Let's add a little more of a highlight to that. Just a touch more. Just a hint. Right there where we want that light to really come down. Ah, good fun. Ha! Yeah. All right, let's keep bringing it forward. Let's keep bringing it forward. All right, I'm going to hit the record button here, and I'm going to try and make sure I've captured this. And we're going to keep going here in just a second. Tomorrow, I'm going to ask you to help me with the camera check in just a minute. Now, if you're watching this thing and you're on my mailing list, so we sent this out to our entire mailing list, then you would have no doubt heard me talk about this over and over and over again. You're probably sick of it already, but there's a reason I keep talking about it over and over again. And if I don't talk about it, then who's gonna? Like, seriously, who's gonna talk about it if I don't talk about it? You know? It's like the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever. So right now, if you're watching this on the mailing list, I have an online art school. Yeah. Well, I should say we, because it's not just me, it's a whole community. A community of 3,000 people and counting. And this is a place where like-minded people, we've come together and we just celebrate the coolness of art, of traditional realist painting, and all kinds of other art too, of course. But this is the one place that you can find over 350 hours of painting video content. You can find critique videos. There's my new art business course called the Creator Activator. That's that art business course you see there. The best part of it, though, is you'll be rubbing shoulders with an exclusive community of people just like you who love painting, who love drawing, and are committed to going to that next level. If you've plateaued, if you've stagnated with your ability, if you're just wanting to know, like, how do I get better? How do I just push through this little plateau or this point of challenge where I'm at right now? Give this a shot. You'll probably find something here on the Academy that will help you reach that next level. But sometimes it's just about being in the right group. Now, every single week I go live for my Academy VIP tier. There is no lock-in contract with this at all. And the other thing as well is if you sign up right now, you get a free 7-day trial, and you also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. But we even extend that. Like if you've been on for a little while and you've been like, hey, look, I'm not happy with this. No worries, refund. It doesn't happen. You know, we've got a lot of OGs. Doesn't happen often, you know, but we've got a lot of OGs who have been with us for years and years and years. Now, I'm going to ask my OGs, again, just hit people up in the live chat and let folks know what's your experience been so far on the Academy. And I just want to say as well, if you're new here, if you've never seen one of these live streams before, if you're new to the Academy, have a look at what some of the people, or the others are saying about the Academy. I did not pay them to say this stuff. I've poured everything into this, my life into this. And it's exciting because this year, we're doing something huge. Now, for my OGs and anybody that's concerned about this, like, I am not letting up. I am still uploading content. I'm going to be going live every single week. I'm going to be uploading tutorials and installments every week. I'm going to be continuing with those critique videos. Everything I'm doing, I'm going to keep doing. But what we've got on board is we've got other artists who have just signed on to be part of the Tisch Academy and to be instructors on Tisch Academy. I've got one killer portrait painter in the other room. I'm going to announce him soon. And we've landed one heavy hitter artist as well. And your mind's going to be blown when I announce the name of who's just decided to go, you know what, Tisch, I'm in. I'm going to be part of whatever it is you're doing. I'm like, whoa, like wait till you hear he announce his name. So it's going to be, this is going to be out of sight. And we're going to be adding the right people at the right time to this to give you something that you can just really get your teeth into, get your brushes into, and have something that's just awesome, man. Whether you want to paint, you know, figures or portraits or plein air or still lifes or, you know, photorealistic, hyperrealistic, impressionist, whatever it's going to be, we're going to be extending this thing. So this is the time to join right now. Check it out and try it for 7 days on me. And those other artists, as soon as we get those modules edited together, we're going to be uploading them to the library. And so my Academy members are going to be the first to know about that. But thank you for allowing this little plug. All you got to do is click that link that is the top link in the description below. My Academy members are already right now looking at this through their Academy library. But if you were here from the mailing list, there should be a link at the top of the description. Hey, Jim Fairburn. Is the link at the top of the description? Yes. Click the link at the top of the description. Get yourself a free 7-day trial and check out Tisch Academy. Okay, on that note, what I'm going to do is take a short 5-minute stretch break. I'm going to leave this on the screen, and I will be right back with you in 5 minutes. All right. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. We got some more painting to do. I will leave this on the screen. There's the address down the bottom. Go ahead. Hey, during the break, I'm not going to be painting for the next 5 minutes. Just going to take a short little break here. During the break, sign up for the Academy. Check it out. 7-day free trial, 30-day money-back guarantee. And when you, by the way, when you see the price of art school, I paid a ton for art school, right? When you see the price, my parents did. It's all right, whatever. It still costs money. All right, when you see the price for art school and you compare it to this, it's actually going to teach you some techniques. Come on, get in there, get in the front row, get learning today. All right? I look forward to seeing you in there. All right, I'll take a quick break, and we'll see you in a minute. And we're back. Okay, this is probably ill-advised. I'm going to have a sparkling water with a hint of passion fruit. Cheers. Try talking on a live stream and burping at the same time. I'm going to try not to burp in your ears. I'm going to try. No guarantees. Okay, so far, happy with that. Like the light coming through. Love the shoulder on that mountain. That's fun. That's feeling good. I'm feeling it. Are you feeling it? Please start recording. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you. Gosh, Tamara, I appreciate you so much. I would have forgotten that, and I would have been terrible. All right. Okay, so I'm going to wipe off my brush. Got my paper towels handy. Wipe off my brush. And let's go ahead and paint the shoulder of this mountain here. And again, you know the rule. We're going to extend our value range. That means our darks get darker, our lights get lighter as we come further forward. Burnt umber, ultramarine blue. The other thing I'm going to do is increase the chroma, so I'm going to introduce just a little bit of transparent yellow oxide. It's a pretty punchy color. It's not the intensity of cadmium yellow, but it gives a nice bit of warmth. Now, that is pretty dark, isn't it? Let's lift the tone. We don't want quite that dark because we need to have a lot of dark in our foreground to bring the foreground forward. But this hill, this shoulder, I want to have this nice dark shape over here on this side. Potentially, in the bigger version, we might get rid of it, but this, for me, sets a little bit of context. Because being out here on location, you're standing up against this embankment, a very steep one. I remember seeing that, looking at the trees that were clinging to this almost vertical slope. I thought, well, that's cool looking. That's got to go on the painting. But it stops the vectors going off that side. All right. Now, I haven't really used much of the cobalt teal yet. I'm going to use a little bit of it here with our transparent yellow oxide, a nice cool green. Introduce a little bit of that for some of these trees that are just growing on the slope. Just flicking in a little bit of color. Again, for our color study, I just want to see, is that combination going to work? How's that going to sit within that space? Does it bring it forward? Starting to bring it forward. I think I will get a little bit of ultramarine blue and burnt umber, a bit of a darker combination. Anytime I change combinations, if I want more effective strokes, what I do is I just wipe off that brush and get back in there. Now, generally speaking, as I'm painting, I'm thinking about the structure of what it is I'm trying to communicate with that brush, and I'm following along. So if I'm painting a cliff with an edge to it, I start my stroke at a particular place, and I drag down just with what's appropriate. I'm not going to drink that sparkling water on the live stream. That was a bad idea. We'll keep it still. We're going to keep it polite, and we'll drink some still water, shall we? We had a question here from Raylene, and agreed. And I just realized I did not add my reference or my palette. I apologize. Let's get back to it. There we go. Happy days. How about that? Okay. Yep, we got it. Yep. Hey, Terry Hirsch, how are you, buddy? So I got a little bit of titanium white, a little bit of Cremnitz white, a little bit of ultramarine blue. An area I want to paint now is just down here in this floodplain. We might have a little bit of rising mist and atmosphere, just a touch. Gosh, what fun. Right, now we've got foreground. I'm not worried about the light yet. Not worried about it yet. We'll get there. I think this edge here, though, just needs to be flicked just a little bit. And I might just rub out just a touch to show in premature to just give a little bit of slope to that. That's the only bit of the painting I'm unsure about. I might get rid of it, but we'll see how that feels when we get our foreground in there, because it might work. Let's not be too quick to judge. And now, there we go. I've got a little bit of reference up on my screen. I've taken one of these images, so specifically the one I've taken is the one on the left, and I've mirrored it, I've reversed it. So if you're a bit confused about what I'm going to do next, that's what I've done. And now what we want to do is we want to start establishing that distant plane. We're working in a very thin band though right here, and so right here up against the mountain I'm going to start off with this nice bluey gray. Of course we've got a herd of cattle out there to contend with, but we'll start off with that nice bluey gray, and I'm thinking about that riverbed out in the distance. Now the good thing about the Series 274 flat is that it cuts such a nice line. So I load it just on the edge. It's just a thin little amount of paint that I'm adding right now, just a tiny little bit. Now, up against that mountain slope, there we are. Pull up a little bit more reference on my screen. You'll be able to see that in the image on the middle. There's just a hint of sunlight right there on that opposite bank. And that's really illuminating that grass out there in the distance. I'm going to use a little transparent yellow oxide, a little bit of nickel yellow deep, a little bit of Cremnitz white and titanium white. Are you still with me? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Are you learning a little something today? So let me know if you got a question with 3 capital Qs, QQQ. That way I'll see it in the live chat. If I've missed your question, I apologize. Just go ahead and hit me up again. That's what we're here for. I love these slopes. You know, the landscape tells a story if you're listening. It does tell a story. It tells us how it was made, the different processes that are ongoing here. And I love these little places in here where we have these little streams and waterfalls and things that are eroding material off the slopes, and they're accumulating and depositing down here on the valley floor, and then they fan out. So we got this little shelf of material that's opened up. That's fun. All right. Do I paint all landscapes like these, asks Ellen. I'm not sure how to answer that. It depends what kind of landscape it is. It might dictate a slightly different approach, but generally my process is, after a design process, which this is a big part of my design process, the color study. After my design process, I will maybe do some pencil work, really render out and sketch individual elements. So here I'd probably be sketching cows for a while, just to make sure I got the anatomy, a good understanding of the pose, good understanding of the value arrangement with how the light is shining off those cows. That'll be important. I would then probably digitize this color study and start painting it in Photoshop over the top of this little color study and make sure I got all the detail worked out. That usually takes me several weeks for these bigger projects. for this show, I don't have that kind of time, so I'll probably be doing something a little bit shorter than that. But nonetheless, that's a big part of it. Right. Those cows might be a little central, but whatever. It's all good. But then once I get painting there, I'll be going a 1, 2, 3. Blocking in, then a bit of modeling, and then layers of detail. So the block-in is kind of similar to what you're seeing here. It's one layer of paint. You try and realize as much of the composition as is practical. You get a little bit of difference in there, a little bit of nuance within reason. You don't go overboard. But then you start working it up with more and more details. So your next layer is your modeling, and this is when you realize forms with a little more precision and accuracy. I am going to do something a bit crazy here, and I'm going to change up my perspective slightly. I know, look out. I'm going to change my perspective slightly. We can do this with a color study. Let's get radical. I'll show you exactly what we're about to do. All right, QQQ from Matthew. Hello, Matthew. Have you ever gotten around to messing with Dad's Studio 3D rendering? No, I haven't yet. Sai Pahudakawa. Where? No, not yet. Matagari, maybe. Give it time. Give it time, Nikki. You want to paint cows, Ellen? Awesome. Have you had to go at water mixable oils? Yes, I have, Veronica. And would you know if the fast drying medium is working the same as a liquid in regard to using a little in each layer? I'm not sure how that would relate to the water mixable oils. With liquid original, if you're wondering about the fat on lean principle, then generally it kind of goes out the window with liquid, but I just use a little bit in each layer and I've got good adhesion. The idea with fat on lean is as you add to the layers, you are fattening up. And so your fatter and fatter layers are going on top, and you're fattening it up by adding more and more medium to it. So I don't tend to observe that rule when I'm using liquid. I just have a little bit of liquid as I'm mixing, and that's all good. I steer clear of a lot of issues that can come up by doing that. So I'm going to change the perspective here slightly, but I'm going to draw it again on the canvas. And what I've done is extended the plane, because here I basically dropped down into the water level. But what I want to do is maybe extend that a little bit, have the stream come off the edge here, lower this edge here. It might not make sense at first, but this will open up the field for our cows to be on. So we're just taking a slightly higher elevation. Should still work. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to get into a bit more here. Let's get into some transparent red oxide, transparent yellow oxide, a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of ultramarine blue. Boom. Lift the tone out with a bit of white. This is our initial base, but because it's a lot warmer, it should start coming a bit further forward. Now what I'm thinking here is that this is dried grass in this field that's in front of us. You'll see it there in your reference material, bit of dried grass. But it's that dried grass in the shade. No real light on it yet. In fact, I'm going to channel that light right there in that central area, and it's not really getting into our foreground just yet. But a bit of nickel yellow and a bit of nickel yellow deep. Add a little lead white to that. It's slightly more saturated. Those willows, of course, are planted along the banks of the Matuki-Tuki. Hopefully my hat's not getting in the way. Is my hat getting in the way? Now a little bit of cobalt teal, just a touch, will add just a bit more life to those dried grass notes. A little bit of chromium green oxide as well, up here against the mountain. We seem to have a couple of notes that are creeping up that slope. Keep it nice and flat, nice and horizontal. All right. All is good, says Tamara. All is good. Okay, well, great. I've started using Procreate with an Apple Pencil. Ellen, I love Procreate. I don't know if I've got any Procreate stuff on the Academy. I might do, but I got to get back into it. I haven't done Procreate for a while, but that might be a quicker way of doing it than do the full-on Photoshop rendering. I do love the erosion on this thing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to keep that erosion. I'm going to paint this out with some darker tone and start to, and I'm not worrying about the cows yet. We're going to add the cows a little bit later. I've just put in there just a couple of little blobs where we're going to have some willow trees. But as we approach the edge of our stream, I've added a little bit more chromium green oxide and a little bit more cobalt teal. And that's communicating a bit more, hopefully a bit more life in some of those green notes. It's an interesting little perspective game we're going to play right now. Again, we'll be able to see, is this going to work when we're doing our color study? I've dropped the value a little bit of burnt umber, bit of ultramarine blue, bit of cobalt blue. Drop that value. Working along the edge here. While I've got this on my brush, I love the erosion on this bank as this river cuts through. So nice. Ron, hey Ron, how you doing, brother? When it comes to your small color studies, are you able to remember how you mix the colors for a larger painting? Beautiful question. I love that, Ron. Sometimes you might want to make notes in the borders. I have the beauty of being able to go back and watch the recording. And you know what, Ron? You know, sometimes I forget to mention that, is that I've got the most detailed form of note-taking. I've got HD video streaming. So if, and it will happen again. It's happened before. I've had to go back and look at the video and go, what the heck happened here? Not often. Often I can look at it and go, okay, hey, this is what the heck happened here. This is what I did. And just having done it already, my mind's pretty good at retaining that information. But absolutely, take some notes, eh? Take some notes of what you're doing and record that stuff in a little notebook next to your easel, or You know, however, you could take voice memos on your phone, have that translated to text or something like that. That's a beautiful question. I love that question. Liquid Original is the only oil you're using. So Pinot, that's the only medium that I'm using. It's yeah, Liquid Original and Liquid Impasto, actually. Liquid Impasto is there too. We're coming up to the top of the hour here. We've got 55 minutes to go till the end of the stream. 2 hours in. We got a little something done. Hopefully you can see kind of where I'm going. We got a little ways to go till we achieve the similar resolve that we've achieved in some of these other color studies. What other color studies? If you're just tuning in now, these are some of the color studies that I've been working on. And these things here are going to help me work out what am I doing with this exhibition. Are these going to make it as big paintings? Is there something here that's an idea that's worth exploring? You know, the one that I found the most challenging, but I'm actually the most excited about, this one right here. The mossy forest with this stream that's cutting through. In fact, I was here with Vanessa Jones, Susan Kassenbrock, Terry Hirsch, Kim Kutch, and several others from the Plein Air Tour. And we are all walking through this forest with sticks held above our heads in case we had dive-bombing falcons coming at us. This is where I copped a falcon in the back of the head. Not on this trip, on a previous trip. True story. Anyway, this is what we're doing. And so this little study here that we're working on together, I'm just trying to work out, is this going to make it as a bigger painting? I think it's got legs. I think it's got legs. You tell me. Anyway, let's get that reference back up on that screen. Download the royalty copyright-free reference on the Academy. I have to move. My body is screaming. Mine too, Nikki. I'm just going to get up and do a quick stretch. See if the painting's working from a distance. Oh, rotate the arms. That spot was wonderful, says Vanessa. Agreed. I love it. It was phenomenal. How large are your studies? So Monica, these studies are roughly about 10 centimeters by 15 centimeters. Here's my hand. So without putting it on the painting, that's roughly right there, the size of it. So they're very small. But we can get them done in one sitting and work out our composition, work out our colors, all that good stuff. Okay. Are we ready? Have we stretched? Nikki, you good? All right, get back here. Sit down. Let's go. Class is in session. So we're going to get out a little bit of titanium white, crimnance white, a little bit of ultramarine blue, a little bit of burnt umber, and some liquid impasto. Nice gray color here. You might be thinking it's a little bit muddy, but hey, guess what? We got a muddy bank to paint. So I'm going to put that up in there on our eroded bank. Oh, absolutely love it. If you're going to paint mud, you might as well mix a muddy color. That's what I know, that's what I'm saying. I can't really feel the structure of that yet, but we will. Transparent red oxide, ultramarine blue. I've got a question here from Lynn. Hello, Lynn. How are you? I'm thinking about buying a new tablet that will allow me to paint and draw on it. Is there a program that I can buy outright? If you're getting an iPad, I would recommend Procreate and get the Apple Pencil. Get yourself a paper quality screen protector. Put that on the screen, and you're good to go. I just think that Apple program, Procreate, is one of the most intuitive, easy to navigate programs for drawing. It's a lot simpler than Photoshop. I do love Photoshop. You can do a lot more with Photoshop. But in terms of painting tools, compositional tools, Procreate's pretty good, Lynn, and you'll do well with that one. All right. Okay, so we're going to keep going here with our foreground. I can see where the grass is going. Yeah, I don't care what they say. The grass really is greener right here, right where we are. Do you ever display your studies alongside your final paintings? Robin Ward, yeah, I have done. I have done, and I probably will do. I probably will. It's not a bad idea. I'm going to mix up a little bit more of a saturated green here. And we'll just go ahead and bring this off the edge. It's pretty well grazed grass right here. Slightly darker, slightly bluer. We're going to add some lighter greens to the tops to flatten out, lift up those tops. Working right here against the edge of some of that dark. And then I'm thinking about using color and using tone to sculpt a bit of relief here into this. Does that make any sense? No, not really. Okay, just bear with me. It'll happen. Bit of transparent yellow oxide, bit of transparent red oxide, bit of cremnance, bit of nickel yellow deep. Okay. Got a QQQ from Monica. Interesting that you start at the top and paint down. Is this what you usually do? I actually start with whatever's furthest away and work forward. So unless I'm painting plein air, and then I'm going to paint with whatever my light is doing first, I'm going to lock in my shadows first, because the light is shifting all over the shop when you are painting plein air. So that's what I'd recommend, to start with your light first, lock it in by isolating your shadows. But when I'm painting in the studio, I start with whatever's furthest away first, work my way forward. Now I've lightened up my green here with a little bit of ultramarine blue, a little bit of cobalt teal, bit of nickel yellow deep in there, a little bit of transparent yellow oxide, kind of a grayed out green. We're not in direct sunlight here in the foreground. And the reason I'm not having the sun shine here in the foreground is because I'm trying to make that sun out there in the background, in the distance, all the more special, so that it leads the eye over towards it. So I'm going to keep everything else pretty dark by comparison. Don't be afraid to go too dark. It just makes your light a little more special. Do you ever clean your brushes with water and soap, or do you just use paint thinners? Sam, for the most part, I'm just using Gamsol, but if it's going to be an extended time between sessions, I use this product called Brush and Hand Cleaner made by Art Spectrum, And it's like a waxy, oily product, and it does a really great job melting the oil paint out of your brushes and conditioning them and restoring them. So it's kind of like adding conditioner to your hair. I don't remember what that's like. I haven't added conditioner to my hair in a very long time. So, but for all of you with hair, you'll no doubt know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a lot like that with that brush and hand cleaner. Do you normally use just one brush when you're blocking in your painting study? I tend not to use a lot of brushes here, Gary, and I'm really loving these Series 274s at the minute. And so I'm using a bunch of them, obviously. It's just giving such a nice mark and a quality, and I'm able to round out forms and blend slightly between strokes. Let me adjust this ISO, get you a little bit more brightness in there so you can make out my foreground a bit more. How's that? If I want to join, what are the copyrights to paintings I do in class? Sharon, you're able to paint from any of the demos. You are able to paint from any of the photographs. It's all royalty and copyright free. What we have is a bit of an honor system, right? And by that I mean is that if you're going to do a demonstration and do the painting and you want to sell it, you have my permission. Go for it. Sell it. It's copyright free. But the only thing I'll ask is that you just give me a little mention or a shout out. Just say, hey, I learned how to do this on Tisch Academy. So as long as we have a deal, then that's all right. I'm not holding you to that. I'm just saying I appreciate it when people do that. So it's just an honor system. It's a bit like a honesty box on the side of the road if you're picking up some fruit and vegetables at a little farm stall as you're driving through the countryside. You can just take it, but it's nice if you drop a little something. But a terrible analogy? All I'm asking you to do is drop me a comment or something. Say, hey, I learned this from Tisch. So if we have a deal, then we got a deal. And you can do whatever you like with that material. See, the trouble is a lot of us can't travel now. Some don't travel. I'm not well traveled. I don't like to get on planes. My OGs know that, but I am getting on a plane here next year. And I'm hitting up a few locations internationally. I figured it was only fair. I asked some of my students to come jump on a plane and come see me, so I might as well get on a plane and go see you. So, fair enough. But a lot of people can't get around to see these sorts of landscapes. So I provide it royalty and copyright free here on the Academy, and so do other members as well. There's a section in the community where you can upload reference material. Now, hopefully you're starting to see and you're picking up some of what we're doing here with the foreground. Can you get a sense of the shape here? I'm feeling that shape. I'm feeling it. It's all about shapes. Please repeat the name of the brush cleaner you use. I can do better than that, Carol. I can do better than that. I will hold it up for you. This is it right here. Art Spectrum brush and hand cleaner. I get it in the 500 mil. This has lasted years, and I've only used that much. And it's wonderful for conditioning those brushes. Absolutely wonderful. Okay. Are you enjoying it so far? Are you learning a thing or two? I hope so. I've added a little bit of white here to this gray to start indicating a little bit of a shelf here on our eroded bank. You can hopefully start to get a sense that this bank has slumped downwards. It's dropped. You can see it just crumbling as the stream is meandering through the pasture. It's just crumbling and then getting washed away. A little tributary headed its way towards the mighty Matukituki out there in the distance. Right. I want to get some water in there. I need me some water. But I got a cheeky little bit of imprimatura showing through right there, which I do not appreciate. I've got an off green color, residual paint left from the grass in the foreground, a little bit of that violet too. And that will give me the willows that are here in the foreground. Oh, well, the band in the midground anyway, I should say. I do kind of get the sense that I'm looking downhill towards the river valley in the distance, but that's exactly what this is. I mean, it's slightly elevated, it's an angle, and you're looking continually downwards towards it. Maybe it could be a problem for the bigger painting, but so far I think it's okay. Now, how then are we going to handle this water? Well, I've got some reflection showing through here and there. Let's go ahead and paint a little bit of this transparent red oxide, ultramarine blue, and burnt umber. Now, the water here, crystal clear, absolutely crystal clear. We'll get a little bit of a sense of that in the bigger picture. But for now, we just want to give an indication of this tranquil, flowing, clear water. Get a dark line under some of these areas. Right there against that bank. Thin paint. Might have to reload. I got a question here from Shauna. I've only used Rosemary synthetic brushes. Would like to try bristle brushes. What do you recommend to start with? Tisch dagger. Tisch dagger. Tisch dagger all the way. And then I get myself some filberts and give that a shot. I'm loving these small paintings. Before you leave today, I'd enjoy seeing them all together. You got it. We've got half a dozen here. I got an exciting one that you haven't seen yet that I'll share with you, Lori, over on the other side. So let's do it. Now, if I haven't said it already, before I forget to say it, thank you for being here with me today. I appreciate you so much. Appreciate the company. It's nice to paint with a couple of hundred of your friends, just sitting here in the studio. Helps pass the time. Now, generally on the Academy, it's a smaller group of people, but that's okay. We put this out to the entire mailing list because I just wanted to give you an opportunity to see this and experience what a live stream is like. And I hope you've come away with something today. I hope I got you thinking about something. Now with this water, what I'm doing is I've darkened the tone and I'm working up to the edge. I'm painting where there is an absence of sky reflection at the moment. I'm thinking we're going to have a few rocks that are just here in the immediate foreground. We'll work with that. I'm thinking about it. In terms of shapes, I'm digging it so far. We need to feel texture, though. I need to feel a little more texture. So we'll work on that. Let's get some reflection of whatever's happening above. Now, you see what's going on here? This sky, this is what's going to be reflecting down in here. So we need to go back to those original combinations that we did at the very start, 2.5 hours ago. Goodness me, we got half an hour to go in this painting. I thought we wouldn't make it. I know what you're thinking. You're like, yeah, but what about the cows? Well, let's see if we can add them back in here. Now, when I'm painting water in one layer, like what we're about to do here, I do follow my reference pretty closely, but I try to think about what the water's doing. And as it's traveling through, wherever I have a disturbance in the surface, maybe the water is fast moving and it's traveling over rocks, I think about, okay, well, what's that going to do? Is that going to be reflecting some sky, the bank? Is that going to be a nice dark shape where we'll be able to see through it? What's going on there? All right. Hope you're enjoying it so far. We got a question here from Noah. Hello, Noah. Do you recommend blocking in the painting with a synthetic or bristle brush? And which one do you use to layer on top? So Noah, I talk about this at depth in my Icy River tutorial. You can see the full version of that on my YouTube, on my website. There's a 6-hour version on the Academy. Full 12-hour version is on the website. But suffice to say, it depends on the scale and the effect that you're going for. Ordinarily, when I'm blocking in my paintings, I really like to use bristle. Now, this is just because generally bristle carries a lot more paint. And so with that, I'm putting down some pretty heavy brushwork. There's a little bit of texture in there. I mean, naturally, you're going to get more texture with bristle. And then I work over the top of that texture. So I do like to generally create a little bit of tooth with my paint layer, my initial paint layer, and then work over the top of this toothy texture. So that said, when we're trying to create an effect with light, what can happen is we can kill our effect if we are basically putting texture in the wrong place. Like shadows, for instance, I try to keep thin always, but my highlights are relatively thick. So I have a couple of general ground rules, but that's my approach generally. I'm just brushing in a little bit of darker blue as we come forward. And I'm thinking right here we're going to have some lovely rocks that are breaking up this surface, creating a bit of an interference on the water. Brilliant. Okay. I'm enjoying it so far. I hope you are too. Goodness me, 3 hours is a lot of time to paint. Do you know sometimes on the Academy we'll paint up to 5 hours on a live stream? I try to do those every once in a while. I'm going to start trying to do those once a month. Those are the epic marathon sessions. If you want to paint along, then those are good opportunities to do that. But also, you can always catch the replay. So if you've just joined, get into the library and check out some of the replays of those live streams. Now, with the edge, with the corner of this brush, I'm going to lay in a couple of dark marks, scattered shapes. And then over the top, I'm going to apply some lighter gray. If you look at that reference material, check out the color of some of those rocks that are just spread in the bottom of that stream. That's a lightish blue-gray, isn't it? A little bit of ultramarine blue, white, quinacridone magenta. A little bit of transparent red oxide, just a touch. because I don't want blue or violet rocks, but we do want some lighter colors. We'll shift the color a little bit here. Bit of burnt umber, gray it out a bit more. Now that's just with a number 4 274. For a little bit of detail like that, it's a pretty big brush. I haven't gotten out any detail brushes yet. We've just been rocking with this one brush so far. So we might have to get in here and do a little more detail work. What I'm saying to myself is that I want to see some rocks right here. I want a way visually across this stream. So I can cross the stream and go hang out there and be with my bovine mates. A little bit of transparent red oxide gives that tannin quality to your water. A lot of tannins. This water is filtering its way through a temperate New Zealand beech forest. And it's taken a lot of suspended plant material with it, but it stains the water this tea color. That's one of my favorite colors. All right. Went out to feed the chickens and he painted half the panel, says Laura. You can't blink or feed the chickens, incidentally. All right. We need to get a wiggle on. And we need some cows. Coos. And we need some light. So everything is just about here. Everything's in place. We've covered the panel. Everything's here. We're good to go. We just need to push it to that next level now. Here in the last few minutes before we wrap up this stream. So I'm going to take a quick stretch after I add a few of these dark accents just here underneath our eroded bank. I'm going to get up out of the stool and I'm going to think about what the next move is. Sometimes just getting up, having a stretch, it can reveal much. All right. Does your classic female portrait tutorial include as much attention to the background as the subject? It has some in there, Susan. It has some. It talks about the overall context, and I'm basically showing and breaking down every part of that painting. Background, foreground, and the portrait itself. Those were fun paintings. My favorite part of that tutorial, though, is the white shirt that Stephanie was wearing. That fabric caught in the light was just so much fun to paint. I like some of the shapes that are going on in here. Something happening here. Something happening. Okay. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking it too. Let's stretch first. We need to bring some cows up in this space. I'm feeling like it's traveling. It's coming forward. What are we going to do with our bovine mates? What are we going to do? All right, phthalo, tell us again how you get black. Quinacridone magenta, phthalo green, and burnt umber will get you there, Bruce, but I also use phthalo green and permanent crimson to make a black. Right now, I'm playing with a nice warm black that's given by ultramarine blue and transparent red oxide. Love the giant kiwi shapes. Kiwi shapes. Do I have kiwi shapes in there? Hello, Danielle. Did it just start? No, Danielle, we've been here for over 2.5 hours. We're just going to be applying some of the final strokes here. Okay, I think I've got it. I think I've got it. Let's do this. All right, I'm going in. I'm going in. Oh, that's a beautiful. I've got on my screen here, and in the reference library, you're going to have reference for these cows that we're about to do. We're going to put these cows right here. Let me make sure that this is as sharp as we can possibly get it. That's pretty sharp. Okay. Okay. So right here, we need a couple of cows. A herd of cows. Let's do it. I think what we're going to do, though, is we're going to use our synthetic pointed round that we were using earlier. I don't think we're going to need any more detail than that. It looks like we've got Herefords, but they might be crossed with some Angus because there's a bit of black in there, too. So you got like a Hereford color pattern, but instead of the burgundy, we got black. But we don't want to paint them out black, so I'm going to go for a warm gray. And where do we want them? I think we're going to put them there. Boom. One. Lovely. One cow. Two cow. Sorry. This happens after you've been painting and sniffing liquid for a few hours. You go a bit mental. All right. There's a little calf coming your way. Coming at you. This cow might be a little bit further along in the herd, or maybe closer to us, actually. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Now, obviously, I'm not going to get detail in there, but I just want to give an indication of the cow's shape and suggest it. You can say so much with just a few angles. Not too much evenness though, that's the trick. You don't want to have too much evenness. So if I see a gap and that starts to get too equal, just close up the gap, add a little something else to it. And maybe here, out in the distance, get another couple of little ones. So this puts the cows out at a little more of a distance away from us. We're not going to have that level of detail that we had in yesterday's cows, if we can call it that. Now, I've wiped off the brush. These cows have got white heads and white underbellies. But here, because they're in the shade, their heads appear to be like a grayed out violet color. All right. Okay, camera check. Yeah, tomorrow we're still rolling. Okay. The count. Yeah. We're counting down. Counting all. Now that I got my synthetic pointed round out, I'm going to keep this brush out, and I'm going to start thinking about that light coming through. In no particular order, I'm just thinking about things as I go, and I'm thinking about these willow trees out here, and maybe there'd be a little bit of light on top, but it's a filtered light. It's a dusty light color. So a little bit of Naples is perfect. Oh, it's heartbreaking, I know, but I'll use it on this study. But I'll get a little bit of that filtered light there on those trees coming through. Am I in your, I am totally in the way, I'm so sorry. Okay. I will try not to be in the way on this one. Let's just try that again. Sorry about that, sorry, I know. A little bit of light on the front of these willows here. I'm not going to worry, Nikki, I apologize. I'm not going to worry about the Matagari either side. Oh, maybe we'll put a little something. I don't know. We'll see how we go. Maybe, maybe not. Now we got light that's coming down through this scene, haven't we? We got light. How are we going to do this? Okay, remember what I was saying before. We've only got so far we can go. The top of the tonal range is that titanium white. Now we can think about, okay, where the heck are we going to put this? I'm going to use, I'll get out a clean one, eh? Here we go. I'm going to use this Eclipse Comber, 1/4 of an inch. Pretty much a brand new brush that Rosemary sent me. I love it. Bit of pure titanium white and liquid original. Grab a little bit of the gray, just knock it down. Why knock it down? Because I don't know if we're ready for the brightest bright, but we're close. We're close. And I feel the light filtering through here. So I'm going to start to just work it around the edge. Now, I don't know if you know this about clouds, but every one of them has a silver lining. Look at this. I'm rolling that around and just pressing very lightly. And because we've held back with our tone, hopefully this is starting to come out. Now I'll reduce the exposure on my camera, adjust that ISO so you can see what we're doing here. Pull out a few of these tendrils of light here. And then here with this cloud, The cloud just seemingly just caught in that valley, just tumbling around. Right here against our mountain, we can really brighten that up. And then blend slightly, create a bit of a gradient. Now over here on this side, where we've got the light coming through, I'm thinking about where that light source is going to be. I don't think we're going to paint the light source, but we're just going to paint the effect of the light. Pick up that paint with just the edge of the brush, and then right here across the top of that little cloud, let's catch that in a little bit of light too. Why not? Any light over on this side? You bet. Just get a touch across the lead edge of that cloud. Wisp it up. Feather those edges. Light against dark, dark against light. You bet, you got it, Gary. That's the rule, my man. Okay, light's coming down. I'm kind of feeling it coming through there. We're not quite there yet, though. I want to slightly lighten that area up here. I want to get some sort of feeling like it's falling down through this space. I haven't gotten into the light rays yet. We might be able to do some of that in this session. But I'm feeling it kind of tumbling out of that sky. Now that I have this on the palette though, I'm going to get out my synthetic pointed round and I'm going to attack another area. Now we've got, like we had in yesterday's session, a very similar light angle. It's high and backlit. So our subject that we're looking at, the light is very high up in the scene and our subject is slightly backlit, which means that we're going to get a bounced reflection down here on that moving water out in the distance. And whenever we get that, we get this like beautiful silver thread. Let's get that in there now. So right here, where's my maul stick? Hey, there you are. Get over here. Oh no. I'm trapped behind a cord. Don't unplug the camera while you do this. Oh, there we go. Whew. It's going to be okay. All right. Going to brace my hand with my maul stick. We'll get in here. And right there in the bottom of this valley where we have a river, the Matukituki, out there in the distance, it's going to shimmer like a silver thread out on the horizon. Hopefully you can see now, because we've been holding back, it's been so muted. We've been entering the boxing ring with one arm tied behind our back. And now we've wound up and we've unloaded with our right hook. And tonally speaking, now we can get a sense of light there because we've held back. What are we going to do now with this foreground? All right, let's play with it a little more. Let's get some texture in here. Now, y'all remember from yesterday, we got us some fuglies. Old, trimmed filberts and daggers. Fantastic. Never throw a brush away. You never know when you can use it. You can always use it for something to make an interesting mark. What I like to do with these older brushes is I like to get a bit of medium on them, a little bit of brighter color, create a point of difference between the color that you're putting on top and the color that's underneath. And as long as there's a point of difference, as long as you got a little bit of contrast in terms of the tone or the color, it's going to show that, and it will be a necessary component in creating a sense of texture. Now here, I'm brushing lightly across the surface, and just in a couple of places, it's very close in terms of color, very close in terms of tone, but just in a couple of places, I'm lifting out a bit of that texture. Lift the tone one more time, bit of white. Right here against this edge where we got grass growing, just on this beautiful round shape that's coming down to the water. Down here. This is only one note. We can add more. A little bit of nickel yellow deep. Just shift it up a little bit. A little bit lighter, a little bit yellower. Right here with the light against dark, dark against light, let's get a couple of these just here against the shadowy bank. As I drag through that wet paint, pushing the brush almost, it can flick up and create that texture. Screaming into the finish line here. Oh my goodness. What fun this was. I can't tell you how excited I am about this painting now. Like, I'm actually stoked to do this bigger. I think would be just so much fun. I hope you agree. If you don't tell me. I don't think I could handle it. I'm too wrapped up in this idea. I think this is a winner. But if you do agree, let me hear it in the comment section. Now, again, if you're just joining us, if you've never seen me paint live before, if you came away learning something today about oil painting, about landscape painting, if you've got a technique or two, if you've got a new trick to try, then consider joining us on Tisch Academy. We do this every single week. That's a lot of hours by the time you've done a month. That's a lot of learning. And we really hold nothing back here on these live streams. So check it out. Sign up for your free 7-day trial. The link is in the description down below if you're watching this from the mailing list, if you've just joined us today from the email that we sent out to everybody. Get you a 7-day free trial, and it also comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, and there's no lock-in contracts. You can cancel anytime. Thank you, Virginia. Appreciate that. I'm still chipping away, still working. We're still working. There's some funky monkey business going on here with the foreground weeds, but I think what it's going to need is actually it's going to need some dark. And so I'm going to get some transparent red oxide, phthalo green, interesting combination. Mix that in with a little bit of our green that we were just using here. And I'm going to drag through just a couple of places. I'm actually, in a couple of these areas, I'm actually removing more paint than I'm depositing. This might be cooked. I might have to go on with a second layer once this is dry. I think that might be the case for that area. That's all right. We'll go over to this side. Add a couple of marks. I'm going to go slightly over today because there's a couple of effects I want to show you. We're not quite there. My OGs know how we do here. We always do a little extra. Give you a little more to get on with. But just breaking it up in a couple of places. That will help. Oh, gosh, there we go. Just breaking up the monotony of that green, but I do like it. There we go. Right. Now, let's lift out even more. Let's go even further with it. Cobalt teal. A little bit of Indian yellow. Ooh, that's a nice green. Right. And then working back in here. A bit of texture. I think we could go even a little bit lighter. Couple of thicker strokes. A little bit of thickness in the color study. That doesn't hurt. Just help those areas stand out a little more. I'll reserve that for the tops of some of these forms, these clumps of grass. Just catching that light. All right. I'm thinking out there on that plane. I'm thinking, man. Thinking out there on that plane that we need to get a little more light. You thinking that too? And to get that light, I'm going to use the same brush. I think this brush is a winner. All right. My favorite cloudscape. Thank you, Permaculture Kiwi. I'm going to assume you're talking about my painting. Appreciate you. You are my favorite Permaculture Kiwi. So how about that? All right, bit of transparent yellow oxide, bit of nickel yellow deep. Gonna have a bit of Naples in there. Breaks my heart, but we're gonna do it. Loaded up my brush. And I want a little bit of that light out there on that horizon, on this field, just to shine through. Just lift that out a little bit. Maybe, just maybe, a bit of cad orange would do well. Cat orange, Indian yellow combination. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. There might be. Oh, yeah, mate. Just to lift it, just a touch. I don't know if that's coming through your screen at all. Just a couple of touches, just a little lift of color. That sun is just beginning to kiss that distant farm, that field right up against that river. I'm pressing very lightly. This is giving me an interesting point of contrast between that field and that grass and those cows. All right, we're not quite there. We're nearly there, but we're not quite there. We're not quite there. We need a little more. What's next, do you ask? What's next? Well, I'm loving down here in the water. I feel like we could feasibly get just a couple of highlights and horizontals. So I'm going to edge load this Eclipse comber. Drag that through the water slightly, but I'm just pressing with the ends of those bristles. So there's not much of a stroke. It's more of a just pressing in very lightly. Go for a slightly lighter gray. I'm going to mix a little ultramarine blue into that. And then right here, a bit more of a lighter reflection. Now there was something that we had yesterday in the demo, and you were right to remember this. You're spot on. I thought it worked quite well. It's good fun. No, it's not, Carrie. It is, this is not canvas paper. This is Belgian linen, primed Belgian linen. Well, actually, Italian linen. It's Bellarti, isn't it? It's not Clayson, it's Bellarti. Primed linen, so it's oil primed. It's actually just an offcut, bit of scrap, and I'll sometimes do color studies on these, just to work out what my composition's doing. Now a little pinpoint of light, like a meniscus, right where we have some forms that enter our water. This can help it appear a little more water-like. And then, of course, a couple of areas just here. We might even get a little bit of sparkle for you. Too much? Whatever. Gosh, good fun. Okay. Oh, we're nearly there. My goodness, what a roller coaster this stream was. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've come away with something. Now tell me right now in the chat, does Does this have the bones for a nicer, bigger painting? I'm having to hold my breath while I do that, just so you know. I am holding my breath. Whew. All right. Goodness me. Good fun. It has legs, says Carol. All right. We'll just haze out a little bit of that. Now I'm dragging that brush through, and I'm thinking about my light source. Even though it's not quite within the same field of view, I'm pointing at it and I'm aiming at it. Light travels in straight lines from a single source, being that the sun. And so I'm thinking the light source is somewhere right there, just above our painting. A little bit of pure titanium white, liquid impasto medium. Nothing reflects light like thick white paint. Closest to the source, that's going to be our brightest area. And then finally, I think the last little thing I want to put in here is just a touch more light on that mountain. Just a hint. So get a little bit of that Naples yellow. Sorry, nickel yellow deep, I should say. And a little quinacridone. A little more Naples nickel yellow deep, a little more quinacridone. And just on the edge of my brush, right where that light's going to be strongest, lift the tone, increase the chroma ever so slightly, still desaturated because it's far away. But a couple of little chattered marks give the illusion of detail, light just touching the very edge of some of those little formations back there. Oh, I see one more mark I want to make. One last one. That tree right there. That tree, that's got some light on it, hasn't it? Gosh, whew. Again, what a roller coaster. I'd hate to do this on my own. I much prefer doing it with you in the studio. There's more to do, but you got places to be. I'm probably going to continue to work with some texture down in here. Play with it a little bit more, push it a little bit more. Whew, my goodness. You need to slow down, Lori. I keep telling myself this time, Lori, that I needed to speed up. It's like, hurry up, man. Hurry up. You got to paint faster. There we go. Goodness me. Hey, to all my OGs, love you so much. To all my newbies, hey, you too. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning into this live stream. Again, I hope after today, if you're new here, if you've never seen me paint before, if you haven't signed up for the Academy yet, this is what we do each and every week. So Lori was asking, hey, can we see those studies? What I'll do is I'll switch this camera off, and I'll switch this one off, and we'll switch this one, and this one off. Well, let's just take note of where we're at. I'll end the recording there tomorrow. Thank you very much for helping me with the cameras today. And let's go ahead and I'll move this arm out the way and this arm out the way and push that out the way. And now maybe we can see. So here we go. I've got those 4 so far. I think we're on to a winning series of paintings. Now these ones here, this got really, really dramatic. There we go. Now you can see it. There we go. Make sure I'm focused on that one. There we go. Sweet. I'll put this one back up. There we go. So just so you can see, kind of take stock of where we're at. Come back over here. Come here. It's been an interesting journey so far working on these. But what I'm thinking again, these big, bold South Island landscapes. This is all New Zealand countryside. So here what we got is a peak called Mount Avalanche. This is at the top of the valley here. So if you're here in the Matukituki and you go over to the left and you keep going up that arm, this is what you find at the top of one of those valleys. You have Mount Aspiring, so this is very close to Mount Aspiring. And you've got this area just at the top of French Ridge. And I climbed that a few years ago. I didn't climb up here, but this is the shot from this point where I was like, okay, I'm not climbing any higher because I like my life just the way it is. I'm not a fan of heights either, you see, but I got this view and I've been sitting on that view for years and now I'm finally going to be painting it. This here, similar. This is the amphitheater that's just outside Mount Talbot, just before you enter the Homer Tunnel and head towards Milford Sound. And you get to see a view very similar to that. They've recently closed the shoulder of the road, so you can't stop here anymore, but I'm glad I got some pictures and I've been sitting on those pictures for years and years. This view we just saw on our art tour, and it was just so beautiful. And I was thinking, you know what this needs? This needs some cows. What can't be made better with cows? Am I right? Really enjoy that one. I'm looking forward to painting that bigger. This here is an area aptly named Paradise. That's on the other side near Queenstown, just outside of a place called Glenorchy. These two paintings actually relate. There's a little bit of a story and a connection between these two. If you walk into the forest from this grassy flat, this is what that forest looks like. And here's our Herefords out here on the plain. Just few little cows. So these two relate to one another. And as we just talked about today, there's the aspiring valley, Matukituki River, and some nice silvery light coming through the clouds. The fourth painting is my favorite, says Tamara. This one, cool. Well, let me know what your favorites are. But hey, look, appreciate you so much. Thanks again for joining me here in the studio. What fun this was. I'm going to be back again next week with another live stream just for my Academy VIP folks, and we are going to be talking about something very special. I've got something in the works for you. Can't wait to get into it. But we're going to leave it there. Again, if you haven't already checked it out, make sure you do so. Jump on here, go to that address down at the bottom of your screen, Tisch.academy. No www.tisch.academy. That won't get you there. Tisch.academy. Click the link down in the description and get your free 7-day trial today. Check it out. Check it out for 7 days. Click around the library. Watch some tutorials. Guarantee you're going to learn something. Guarantee you're going to love it. And I hope to see you there. Join us. It's the best community online. But we'll leave it there today. Thanks again for joining me. We'll see you again in the next one. All right. So long.